Hey, welcome to Shawshank Adventures. I'm your Fabio for today. And today we will encounter dragons, caverns, and other random encounters. But before we get started, where were we last week?
Forza. Last time on Shore Shack Adventures, Namina sped Sparkmaster as fast as he could towards Ironton, when Sparkmaster suddenly awoke. Continuing on to Ironton to get fully healed and recovered, they went to the Temple of Celeste, where they met up with Sho Tutatu and filled him in on their dangerous quest. After gathering horses, a wild hog, and Hogswallop, they set back out to meet up with Xander and Soomper back on the trail. Once they were all together, they headed for the mountains to follow the path that the raccoon had told Xander about, that the goblin and woman had gone before. After resting for the night, in the morning a large creature was seen flying above the trees. Aroused, not in that sense, Namino went to investigate and found out that it was a giant owl. Soomper approached the owl, or the owl approached Soomper, with a note. On this note was a bunch of druidic runes that, when Soomper read, a tree grew from nowhere, and out came a familiar face. The owl transformed into a human creature, and Egbert and Aster now stood before the party. They are two druids that Soomper has known since long before. They told of Mithril Peak and of the wards that guarded this cavern to the heart of the mountain. They told of the many different encampments that they have seen as they have flown over. And after some questioning, the party was directed to where the hole to the heart of the mountain resided. And that Soomper has now access to teleport around the island for all the trees that he has planted. Let's hope he doesn't forget about that. After crossing the mountain, and with some great tracking, the party was able to find the little green guy that had gone before them. And it turns out that it was Hawk Shink Dink, who was in the throes of a dangerous hunter who was about to impale him or cut his head off, but definitely kill him. The party intervened, namely Xander and Amina, who killed the man with his bare paws, or should I say cat's paws. They tracked the man's tracks back to his encampment, where they found a lot of different items, like an animal call of a bull elk, a listening amplifier, some snares, bear traps, gold, and a bunch of meat. And now, with Hawk Shink Dink in their party, and hopefully gaining his friendship and trust back, they will head to the heart of the mountain and hopefully find out what is causing this massive disturbance. Maybe we'll find that out today. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get distracted again. It happens. Hey, it's D&D. But anyway, let's find out together what's going to happen on today's episode of Adventures in Shore Shack.
Hi, and welcome back to Shawshank Adventures. Now, the last of the party was found in the midst of a cave. And that's what we'll pick up this time. Quite a lot has happened. A member of the party might even drift away this episode. They're in search of a cavern deep inside the heart of the mountain. Will they find it? Or, as the recap said, will they get distracted? Time will only tell on today's episode of Shawshank Adventures.
I will sharpen my axe on my enemy's face.
Hello, Sonia, my love.
Hey, where's that gold at?
What are we doing here, man?
Jesus, Jehoshaphat, where did this fucking hat come from?
Come on, Conan. Let's go.
It feels good to be back.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Make surfboards with my bunyip.
Shall I play you a tune?
I don't even care about the gold anymore.
Now, we are going to start this week's episode in the cave of the Ranger, which you found lobbing axes at Hawkshinkting's head. Before you saved him, Namina had Kaka right into the gut of the Ranger, leaving him, well, dead. No ability to question him or any of his findings, and all of that piece of paper I had of his knowledge as a DM, I crumbled up and I threw it in the trash. But you were able to find his encampment, and with that, a number of potions, as well as other items. A call, a listening device, things that a ranger would have trapping in the woods. You also pieced together that the traps that you encountered, Hawkshinkting was eating all of the bait and or the trapped creatures found in them and leaving the traps scattered about. The ranger had good reason to probably want to kill Hawkshinkting before he met his demise in your hands. Gathered around as a party, you've encountered quite an issue already. Your main goal is to find the Eye of the Heart Center, Eye of the Mountain Center, whatever it is you have branded in your goings about.
The hole to the heart of the mountain.
Bingo. Bingo bango. This is a good note taker right here. And the mining operation specifically that has been called out by a number of different individuals into this mountain's heart center. That's your main goal. You find yourself in this cave with the party, already potentially almost losing an individual. Let's go ahead and just, what kind of dialogue up to this point? You found a goblin. Master, this goblin is brand new to you. Soomper, you have some history with this goblin, as do you, Xander. Sparkmaster, a little weary, a little taken aback by this whole adventure, really. He just met you guys, and already he almost lost his only real friend of the group.
And his life.
And his life. And yes. His friend is
But
taking
the party
his
doesn't
soul.
know that.
Well, like we saw you like nearly die, you know.
Yeah.
Your friend Namina is taking a stroll outside while you guys are in the cavern. Sparkmaster, let's just jump into your mindset real quick for the narrative of the story. How does this all feel? Give us a
So
little
right
bit
now,
of what's going into your head. Yeah.
So right now, the presence of the goblin is not really phasing Sparkmaster a whole heck of a lot. Basically, what's going on in his mind is largely somewhat of an identity crisis and a reckoning between what he thought he was and where he now might be going and heading due to the events that may have happened a couple episodes, 2 episodes ago, I think. So he's, at this point in time, he's sort of expected that the party here has a lot of history and they might have been stirring up some shit with some forces in the island. He's gathered that, maybe some of these forces they're stirring it up with are not exactly friendly either. He's not too concerned about, this new goblin figure. he figures there's a little history here, and he's not too worried about it. But he's having an identity crisis of his own, and he's maybe even a little distracted from what's going on, with the party right now, especially since what happened with him and the Wyverns only 2 days ago.
And for those viewers who weren't able to see, he had faced some ill perishings with the Wyvern and had seen his life flash before his own eyes, getting a glimpse of maybe what the other side might look like after blinking into a perishing moment. While you're in this cavern, and Xander is doing his due diligence and looting everything that this ranger has, Soomper, proud of whatever it is he has accomplished at this moment. What is it that you look like, Sparkmaster? What is it you're doing? Physically, whereabouts are you? How would you look like to an outside viewer?
I think my armor's still a little beat up. I got a good rest in Ironton, but I'm still not looking great from the outside to the outside world. I'm healed, but I've got battle scars around me. I'm dirty from being in that dirt. I didn't wash anything of mine. Still clinking around. I look worse for wear.
Xander Soomper, there are a number of different items that you found. There's some potions. I think at the last episode, we distributed those amongst everybody with the game calls, the listening device. Remind us and the viewers, who has what?
I have two. I believe I have 2 vials. Here, let
You
me
took the
look.
potions.
Yeah, 2 different mystery potions.
Yeah. I took the bull elk call. And Show actually has the listening device.
Interesting choice. I had you pegged for that one, Xander.
Well, Show took the listening device and said he would like to hold that one. Didn't quite get the chance to. I'm not a fighter for petty stuff.
Understandable. Now, as your party circles around, Show is outside and Amina is outside. Any conversations you'd like to have here or continue on in your quest?
I'd like to look around and just, thoroughly search this place out, make sure it's just kind of give it a good once over to make sure that it is safe and free from any booby traps so that we can camp here for the night.
Give me an investigation.
7.
This is a great time to review our participants' drinks to see who might have inspiration. Those of you who are just tuning in for the first time might not know that we get inspiration based on drinks and their relevance to today's campaign episode or the entire campaign as a whole. So, starting with you, Sparkmaster, what are you drinking today?
So I am drinking a grog, which is a half ounce of lime juice, a half ounce of Demerara simple syrup, and 2 ounces of my all-time favorite rum, Smith & Cross, which I cannot recommend enough.
Smith & Cross, a very paladin
Cross.
brand. For those
112 proof as well.
Ooh,
might be a paladin who is very devoted to liquor. Super, take us away. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Russian River Valley Blind Pig IPA. It's delicious. It's one of my go-tos. I also recommend the brewery companies at Pliny the Elder. And it's delicious.
And maybe that is foreshadowing a bit. Xander, what is it that you're drinking today, sir?
This is a mixture of George Dickel whiskey, Jack Daniels Black, Amaretto, and Coke. Just to give it a little bit of sweetness.
Ooh, what would you call it?
The Darkened Cave.
It's amazing how relevant that is but I can't give that to you that easy. Super, I am giving you inspiration this episode, my friend, and you will see why later. All right, back to Xander. Xander, you don't see anything particularly.
I didn't think I would.
Yes.
I thought we pretty much searched this place out already.
Yeah, it looks pretty good to you.
Can I use my divine sense?
You sure as heck can. Go ahead and read that to us, what that means.
All right.
I might not know.
As an action, I can detect good and evil. Until your next turn, you can sense anything anything affected by the Hello spell or know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. You can use this feature 5 times per long rest.
All right, go ahead and show us what it looks like as you do this. So keep in mind, Super and Xander, he's a little bit in his own character, a little conflicted in himself, kind of pacing back and forth in this cavern where you're looting. He doesn't seem to be doing anything particularly useful. And then he goes about doing... What is it you're doing, Sparkmaster? What does it look like?
He takes a very meditative stance, closes his eyes, whispers something in Draconic, and just pauses. He looks very tranquil, but also very focused, despite having his eyes closed.
And seeing a 7-foot statue in the middle of the room just frozen, I want to see where this goes. So I'm just going to stand there and watch him.
As in your mind, you kind of detect outward and darker into the cave. You get no readings back. You can see, opening your eyes every once in a while, deeper into the cave. You can actually see the cave's end. This is not a very deep cave, and this isn't necessarily any divine sense that's giving you this, but more just the ability for your mind to focus in on the fractions of light that exist within this cave and peering into the dark as your eyes adjust. There's nothing undead or fiend-like or even angelic-like in this cave. It is you, it is this cave, and it's not a very deep cave per se. Definitely big enough for you, all of your horses, and your pigs to refuse for the night. But beyond that, there's nothing interesting here.
All right.
So, what was all that?
I was attempting to detect an evil presence in the cave to assess whether or not this is a safe spot to bed down for the evening. Not unlike your wandering and inspecting the cave visually.
No. So you could tell I was here.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
But
I
with
didn't
my
know you could
eyes, I could tell you were here.
You mean I didn't show up on your little radar?
You're not the type that would show up on this radar, Xander.
Good to know.
Though you might aspire to be, it seems you're not evil enough.
I guess I haven't done that much bad in my life.
There's still time.
All right, let's go over to you, Super. Super, pick a thing to do. Pick a person to do it with, and it must contain a role.
I'm sorry, what do you need me to do that contains a role?
Anything you want.
Hmm.
You're going to spark your role-playing creativity today.
All right. Super.
Keep in mind, you do have Hog Swallowed with you.
So this cave, it like ends, right?
Correct.
Right, okay. I will take Hog Swallow because we're gonna like rest for the night, right? That seems to be the consensus. It seems to be the consensus. I will take Hog Swallow and I will do kind of like a little patrol on Hog Swallow at a decent canter Just kind of around the perimeter of like where the cave is. Make sure there's no like, immediate threats that could potentially come at us in the middle of the night.
Roll me an animal handling check, sir.
All right. 9 total. So 5 plus 4. Yeah.
You lucky motherfucker.
I know. I just did it.
That was not an incredible success, but as you gallop along Hog Swallop, you go up and down these terrain of the side of the mountain. Now, it's not a steep slope around the mountain. It's a very gradual slope on this side with almost pasture-like crevices, and then sheer cliffs, and then on top of those pasture-like areas as well. And you can navigate a little bit, and so you take several hours before the evening comes. As you roll through, you go maybe a quarter mile upward on this mountain, and you encounter. Yes.
I was gonna say, and during this, could I also see maybe what would be the best navigation towards Mithril Cave? You know what I mean? So we know where to set off to.
Yes, I would say that on top of Hog Swallop, as you are navigating, you can see Mithril Cave or Mithril Peak, rather. There's no cave that's visible. Mithril Peak is the top of one of the tallest mountains in this mountain range that you're navigating. Between you and it are 2 valleys and another peak that is not quite as tall. Okay, so through that you're kind of looking down at finding a path down the valley and up the next peak, and maybe around that, and then down the next valley. Past that next peak, you can't see much of anything at all. But roll me a perception check real quick.
Right. Natural 1. I go blind, blind pig. I guess it makes sense.
Oh, you just wait.
It does.
Okay, now, as you're looking down, you are trucking on Hog Swallop, and as you look, Hog Swallop mimics your vision and looks as well, though trotting forward as a voluptuous pig that he is. You hit a sticker bush, and the sticker bush then distracts you. You do see some movement, actually, down there, until a sticker bush hits you in the side of the head, and thorns just go into your skull. Hog Swallop pulls back, and you're just thrashing in this thorn pile of bush. You eventually make it through, pull out, and go around it. And you're trucking forward, though Hog Swallop seems to misplace his feet every once in a while. It seems his depth perception is off for some reason.
Oh, no.
Being a nature-loving individual, you are, knowing that you rolled a 9 on a DC 8, and it was an incredible success, though a success nonetheless. You see a thorn jetting right out of his right eyeball.
Yeah. I don't like that.
You have a half-blind pig.
Half-blind pig.
But also inspiration. Any one of those rolls.
Which I can use to redo any of those rolls? I can't redo any of those, can I?
You could have when you made the roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I'll use inspiration to pull the thorn out of his eye without causing further damage, and do it safely or whatever.
Roll me a medicine check, and you don't have to tell me if you're going to use the inspiration. You can re-roll with an inspiration.
Okay. I rolled a 13 with medicine.
Okay. Would you like to keep that or re-roll it?
I don't know. Would I? I think 13 is pretty good. I'll stick with 13.
Okay. you get in front of Hogswallop, and he's kind of whimpering, but like trying to stay tough.
Yeah.
He knows he is the war pig of the group of pigs that you guys have purchased. He's also the only one with a good name.
And the runtiest too. So he has like kind of that like I'm the runty guy. I gotta be tough. Yeah.
Totally. And so as you grip the thorn, it starts to quiver as his eyes try to look in different directions. Because I don't know, if you look at a spike, it's really hard to focus on it as it's piercing your eye. When you grab it, you can feel his eye just kind of. You course your hand over top of his head, which kind of soothes and relaxes him as you slowly pull it out. You can almost feel the eye socket, the gel in the eye kind of warping around the wound as the thorn kind of comes out, slowly sealing it. You pull it back with a tremendous amount of success in the sense that you did not pull his eye out. But looking back at his eye, you see his eye, his eyeball, the pupil there, and then a second pupil of blood kind of pools and bubbles and starts leaking into his eye socket.
Well, I'm definitely gonna do cure wound. Like I'll put like my palm over his eye, kind of like this, and then do cure wounds. Just the first level, I think.
Yeah. And that, let's just say, does enough to cauterize it, or the same effects as cauterizing the blood vessels, and it stops. It seems he has a very peculiar eye if you look directly into it, but it seems to still move with his other eye.
Right.
You look back down at the pass below you, and there's no longer any movement that you can see, but there is a bridge down there that goes over the valley between the two mountain tops, or between the two peak pieces, further down in elevation to where you are. You're able to loop around with this little bit of information, come back to the cave to join the rest of your party.
Gotcha. So I'll be like, hey, I ran into my pig accidentally got a thorn in the eye, but I think I found like the best next course of action for us to get to Mithril Peak to find that cave.
Awesome. What did you find?
Well, there's a couple of valleys and there's like another mountain that's in between us. It's like us, valley, mountain, valley, and then Mithril Peak. And we could kind of go around the perimeter of the valley a little bit to reach at least halfway there. We can't really see beyond into the second valley, but yeah.
And by your guesstimation, how far do you think we still have to travel?
Mike, what would that guesstimation be? I guess I would have to do a perception and then see what Mike says that I perceived.
It would be roughly a half day's travel from where you are.
Okay. Roughly a half day's travel.
Oh, we're practically there.
Pretty much.
I think a good rest tonight. And then we should be there by early afternoon tomorrow. Be able to scout out while there's still light. Find a good spot to camp and hit it the next morning. Or we could take advantage of nightfall.
I feel that it'd be good just to rest, make sure that we're fully ready to go. Like, who knows what we're going to come across once we get to the cave. Like, it could
That's true, but if we go through the next day without having to utilize much, yeah, then we could still, in theory, at least scout around and see if we can find something.
I mean, I'm pretty good to go. I don't know, Sparkmaster, are you good to go?
I got a rest in Ironton. I am good to go.
Oh, and you're good too, Xander?
You mean by leaving now and not resting here for the night?
Yeah.
What time of day is it, Mike?
Well, let's say you've been traveling up. I'd say it's probably around 2 p.m., maybe 4 p.m. Let's say after your travel around Hog Swallow and kind of a short rest for the rest of you in the cave, it's about 4 p.m.
4 p.m. So we still have half a day's travel to get there. So half a day's travel would be
2
a.m.
I guess.
4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m. Yeah, you're
well.
right.
That's a half of a 24-hour day. Is it half
Yeah.
a day's travel, half of a day?
As you normally travel, it's about 8 to 10 hours a day that you travel because you need to rest. Like anybody who has experienced hiking in any mountains realizes you cannot travel for 24 hours. An 8 to 10 hour day is a pretty long day.
So we still have about 5 hours to go.
Oh,
Given a 5-hour trek, and if we're all in good condition, let's just get to that mountain. Let's get there.
We'll get there at or shortly after dark.
right. And we could always stop at dark if we
Always stop at dark.
Right. I think we just keep on traveling.
We can always stop along the way. We can throw up the dome. We can't fit all the horses in the dome.
Yeah.
We also need to consider that. The dome can protect, myself, Conan, and, the rest of you.
And we can see out the dome, though. So one of us could, in theory, watch the horses. One of us could keep watch.
That is true.
And we can see safe in the dome. I would vote to use the remaining daylight hours and get there.
Super, what say you?
I as in yes.
You want to travel on. Okay.
Yeah.
I vote for staying here and starting the next morning. But you two have it, so we're going to do this your way. And
Anything that happens, you don't have to, it's not your fault, man.
right, it will be exactly your fault because I said to stay here. But we are a democracy, and you, sir, are the most senior to us all.
Well, I guess
So, Xander, what is your reasoning for staying here? What do we gain from waiting that we would not gain by leaving now?
Well, by staying here, we can shelter all the horses inside this cave with us. They're all protected. There's one way in, one way out, which I can dome over so nothing can come in during the nighttime. We cannot be surprised. And then the next day, we have full light to travel all day long, find a good, safe campsite tomorrow, and then set out the next day.
where's everybody else in our party as well? Are they around or?
Yeah, so the rest of them are right outside the cave.
Okay.
Namina is
Scouting.
you see him itching to leave. He has taken curiosity of
Cat.
supposedly some smoke down kind of along the path that you've pointed out, though he can't point it out to you. It doesn't seem to be there anymore, but he seems to have his keen eye on that and wants to go scout whether or not you guys leave now or not.
Well, if Namina wants to go scout that out, how far away was the smoke? Could he determine how far away the smoke was? Was it an hour's travel? Was it?
He didn't roll well, but several hours. It would take him. He said he's willing to not sleep. He has enough on his mind that he's not going to be able to sleep anyway.
Well, let's let Namina go search that. We'll stay here for the night. And we'll set out tomorrow at a slow, ample pace so that he can catch up. We've got all day tomorrow to get there.
I think that makes sense. What's the rush? Might as well play it safe, especially kind of this.
When you're this close to the end, well, the end, maybe one of yours, but when you're this close to the cave, let's take our time. Let's cover all the bases. A frozen super? Yes, I'd like one.
That's exactly what he responds with.
Sorry, I'm back. Yeah, when we're this close, you were saying like we should play it safe or something. That's like what I heard.
Right. And that's pretty much it. Yeah,
Okay.
we're this close. We know our goal is right there. Let's not risk getting there at nighttime into an unknown
Midway through the
area.
conversation, suddenly the rocks around you start shaking for a moment. You look, the tree limbs are kind of brushing back and forth as you're in kind of the cave entrance. You're not real far in. Nothing in the cave seems to fall. No rock seems to slide down the mountain, but it slowly subsides. There's some sort of seismic activity, to say the least, around you. What that means to your characters, I'll leave that up to you.
I mean, if there's seismic activity, I don't know if being in a cave is the best place to rest.
Well, I mean, it was this guy's home. It has to be safe. I mean,
That seems like survivorship bias.
do you guys want to head on now? Let's head on now.
Did anything rattle in the cave?
Yeah.
Nothing particular, just the rocks themselves.
So it seems safe.
Roll me a survival check.
All of us? Sorry, my internet's acting all fucked up.
No, Sparkmaster.
Just Sparkmaster. Okay.
I got a 13.
You look around, and judging by the cavern itself, there are no loose rocks on the ground. So what you can gather based on that is that nothing has moved within this cave for a very long time. Whether or not the seismic activity is just recent or has been happening for a long time, you don't know with the survival check.
I'm going to go out and grab Hawk and bring him into the cave.
All right.
Fair enough.
As you go, roll me your perception check, Xander. We're into the shit.
That daggone Hawk. An 11.
You go out, and you see Hawk there where he was, gnawing away at something in his hand.
What you gnawing at there, Hack? What you got there? I'm just curious. It's okay. I'm just curious.
He goes, nothing, and just swallows something.
Hawk, are you being a bad boy?
He just barfs up a carcass of some sort with a rat tail.
Oh, so it was a rat. I mean, that's okay. You can eat rats.
I can?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't. If you want to eat anything, I mean, I say go for it. As long as you're not just eating from our supplies without letting us know. But if you come across food, you can eat it.
Hawk, come in here.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring Hawk in, and I'm going to show him all the meat that was in this tent.
Okay.
As much as you can pack up and carry with you, this is yours.
He goes, I'm on it. And he says, I was going to ask about the horse, but this will satisfy. He runs around and starts grabbing meat, and instead of packing it in a pack, just starts stuffing it into his gullet and to see how much he can fit. He goes, and he starts not really chewing any of it. He's just more or less just shoving it down, and at some point grabs a piece, looks at it, and puts it back down. I think this is as much as I can carry.
All right, the rest you get to wrap up, put in a pack, put on your back, and keep for later. But yes, you will be carried. Because if you eat any of our animals out there, friend or not, friends do get punished. If you had ate the chieftain's meal of your tribe, what would happen to you? I'm your chieftain. Until I get you back in that tribe.
Mike, just sorry, I'm just laughing. Oh.
So horse is not for me.
Nor
Horse
is
Definitely not for you.
yeah, nor are the boars, especially hogs.
I
And
prefer
bacon
horse
is for us.
anyway.
Now, Hawk, how long have you been in this area?
Oh, several moons.
Was there a lady with you at any time?
No lady with me, no.
Was there a lady with your group? Not necessarily you, but with your group. Did you see a lady? Maybe talk to your chieftain?
Oh, Lady Goblin?
I believe it.
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Have you seen any ladies come through here? Perhaps with another goblin.
Now that you mention it, as I was eating the carcass of a raccoon, I did smell something very flowery, but it seemed to be moving in the sense of the earth. I caught wind of it, but then it was gone, and so I thought nothing of it. I had something in my hands to consume already. Maybe it was a woman. Women generally do smell like flowers. I'm not particularly appetized to flowers, though. I'm more of a meat eater.
Have you felt the earth move in this area before?
Oh, like just did?
Yes, like just did.
No. 3 times.
3 times.
When did you feel it?
The past 3 moons.
Each day?
No.
3 total times the past 3 moons.
How long is a moon?
A month.
Month. Okay.
There's 1 full moon every month, every cycle. Just like in real life, I mean.
Just like okay. All right.
Fun fact. Yeah.
Got it.
Well, he hasn't been here for 3 moons because he was with us a couple weeks ago.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he was here for 3 moons.
I think by 3 moons, I think maybe he's meaning days.
I thought he meant, oh, you're right. Yeah, I was thinking like months. You're right. You're right. I forgot that we're dealing with like basically the mind of a child and that. Okay.
All right. So 3 times. All right.
Suddenly, what are your passive perceptions? Go ahead and read those off to me real quick.
Passive perception?
No, fuck it. Roll
15.
perception. We need more rolls in this game.
We need
15.
more rolls! Oh, shit.
I roll a 19.
119,
An 18.
an 18.
20 total.
Gosh
All right.
darn it, you fuckers. You guys are talking to Hawk Shink Dink, and you're looking at him and talking about the shaking earth, and he's like moons, and you're conversing, what the fuck does a moon mean? And then in the background, you hear, coming
Well, that's normal.
sky somewhere. Looking up, you see kind of a sun setting distribution of clouds kind of painted, and you just hear coming from above you in a very faint noise. Just,
Get the horses inside.
I do so, and I start scrambling to the boys and the horses and stuff. And,
Yeah, Sparkmaster agrees.
Conan, inside.
Your party stops. The scream grows louder, echoing amongst the rocks and the ravines that kind of surround it. It grows louder. This echo from above, very faint, but growing ever more present near you. Where is everybody?
Well, I suppose at least Sparkmaster and myself are moving the animals inside, but once I'm done moving the animals inside, I would come out to try to investigate. So I guess that's, I'm not sure exactly where I'd be.
After we got everything inside, probably be at the mouth of the cave just to see what.
Yeah.
The screaming is coming from above for sure. You look up to see something airborne swooping down on your party. Click.
I begin casting Tiny Hut in the doorway.
How long does that take?
It takes 1 minute.
Okay. Sparkmaster, as you are new to the campaign, and the rest of the viewers might not know this as well, but if you ever encounter a trap or something that needs immediate action, I will say the word click, and you will have a few seconds to do something. What you do is completely up to you, and it's got to be fast. Otherwise, time's up. And you don't do anything. That's what Xander, use that opportunity to begin casting Tiny Hut. The rest of you have not done anything. Roll a dex save for me.
All of us?
Super, I will say you are with the animals inside.
Okay, that's fair.
And I'm at the mouth of the cave.
Yep. Sparkmaster and Xander, both of you, roll a dex save. Sparkmaster at disadvantage since you're casting Tiny Hut.
No, Xander at disadvantage.
Okay, that would be a 22 and a 21. So 21.
Well done.
And
what you as Sparkmaster?
I rolled a 14.
Okay. Before you notice anything, an impact is made 15 feet in front of you all. And a thick cloud of dust kind of plumes around you. Xander, you look around. It's up to you. Do you want to be interrupted by this from casting Tiny Hut, or do you want to continue?
I'm going to continue.
Okay. Where you're casting Tiny Hut, as you can see the ground around you suddenly just gets decimated with smoke and dust and sand that's kind of filled through the air, dust around you, where you maintain focus thinking about what could be, quite literally, directly behind you, and how much that this hut might mean to your party and to save their existence. Between you and that cave, the only thing that really seals this off would be this hut. You continue incanting the incantation. Sparkmaster, what is it that you do?
I dive into the cave.
Okay. Diving past Xander, where you could barely see him, but you notice him and you can hear him still incanting. You jump into the cave. Super. You look out and dust kind of fills your eyes. The dust begins to settle. Within 45 seconds.
How long?
45 seconds. Sparkmaster, you and Super are able to peer through, and you're able to see Xander. There's still a little bit of finer dust in the air. But there is no giant creature outside of the cave in which you might have been expecting, at least. Anything you'd like to do in the next 15 seconds, or should we fast forward?
I'll go out next to Xander and like look around, like see what I can see. Ready.
How are you positioned? Defensively or
Defensively for sure. Yeah.
okay.
If you walk out beside him, he's going to grab you to hold you right beside him. So you don't go outside his area.
Who is this? Because my internet froze up. I must have missed. Do we see what this being or creature is?
No, you don't. You haven't seen anything yet. But if you walked up beside him, he would reach out and grab you to hold you beside him, so that you didn't go outside of his bubble range.
Oh, Xander would. Yeah. Got you. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go outside the bubble range. I would just be right next to Xander. Like I thought.
So
Xander
as
was
you pull up next to him and you're looking in a somewhat defensive stance, getting ready for combat, the bubble goes up around you. Suddenly, within that bubble, the dust settles completely. You can see Xander there, kind of a relief overcoming himself as you're looking out against the glass, let's say, of this bubble. The dust settles, and there's something on the ground in front of you by about 10 feet. You can't make out quite what it is yet.
Now that the bubble's up, the dome's up, I'll say, I can't leave the dome, but if you want to check, you can leave and come back in.
They can't look in though, right? Like to them, it's like
To them, it
camouflage.
looks solid, and I'll make it stone color.
Right. I'll just like go up still within the bubble, as close as I can to the glass as you put it. I understand it's not actually glass. Just to see, what I can see.
The fog kind of settles around this darker figure than the ground. The ground is very much sand, yellow colored, and there's a darker figure. The dust starts to settle around it, and you see the carcass of a dwarf.
Of a dwarf?
Super.
Right. I still won't do anything. I'll just I relay what I see to my companions. Like it's like, hey,
Go ahead and relay that, sir.
Oh, right. Sorry. Excuse me. Like, hey guys, like I think it looks like a carcass of a dwarf. I feel like there's a trap or something. Like I feel like they want us to go out there to investigate it. It just
Well, you can't. You couldn't pull it in if you wanted to. You're too tired.
yeah, Xander, whatever. but I mean, even if I couldn't do it, I don't think we should. I think we need to wait and see. Like, is the dwarf moving at all? You said it's like a carcass, so I guess not. I don't know. Do we got? Maybe he was screaming because he fell from a great height. I don't know what to do. What should we do?
How far is
I don't know what to do. Sorry.
how far is the dwarf away?
He is about 10 feet, let's say 15 feet from Xander and Super.
Do we have a rope?
Well, the dome's 10 feet around, so is he 15 feet from the dome entrance, or
From you. So he's about 5 feet from the dome entrance.
Oh,
So we could get near the dome entrance. If anyone has a rope, maybe we could hook him and pull him in.
you can't pull
See
him
what's
in?
going on
He
in the
wasn't
door.
inside the dome when it was cast.
We can't pull him in.
He can't come in.
Oh, like you can't even like allow it or whatever. Gotcha. Okay.
Not according to how it's worded.
Right. Yeah. That's good.
I will look out and do I hear anything out there? Once this object has crashed, do I hear anything out there?
What's your passive perception?
12.
Which is really good, Mike.
Listening out there, and I know my gauge on passive perception. There's an absence of bird calls or the normal wildlife that you would hear in this forest. I'll give you that.
if Sparkmaster decides to go out, I'll go on his shoulders and I'll be like, I'll tell him like, hey, if you decide to go out, I'll get on your shoulders. I'll be the lookout.
Tell him that, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I tell him.
Let's go out and investigate, but let's make sure we can jump back into this tiny hut as soon as anything might go wrong.
All right, it's only 5 feet away. I can't imagine
Only
it.
5 feet away.
Yeah, I think we got this.
Roll a d10, both of you.
D10. Where did my D10? 10 is what I rolled.
7. How is a 10 bad?
I don't know. It could mean a million things.
You walk out to find a ghostly pale dwarf with white hair, dressed in rags, completely disfigured on the ground. He was chained in some way originally, but on impact, it must have pulled at him in a bad way, as his bones aren't all in the way it should be. You see a corpse mangled, motionless, on the ground in front of him.
Is there anything? I mean, Sumpa looks up because it sounds like he fell from above, and Sumpa looks up to see if there's anything he could kind of glean from above.
There's open sky and a thick cloud.
Well, I mean, I look like up the mountain, like not just like straight up, Mike. Come on.
Yeah, is there anything we can? If there's anything we can assume from his possible trajectory, given how he fell?
Right.
Like, did he fall from the sky, or was he launched in a parabola of some sort?
Give me an intelligence check.
Oh, that's not good.
Sparkmaster's dumb.
We're doing trigonometry here.
I got a 14. I got a 14.
That's pretty good. It's not bad.
Based on where you heard the voice coming from, it seemed to come more or less from straight up. Though it's tough to distinguish how true that is based on the echoes of the rocks around you.
Right, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Super basically looks just like, and it's more or less like a straight line. He looks straight up the mountain,
Does it look?
See a bunch of trees right above you.
Does it look like he hit and skidded, or did he just
Not at all.
hit and stop?
Hit and stop.
There's a bunch of trees. Sumpa turns into a squirrel, climbs up like the tallest tree in the direct vicinity,
All right.
to see if he can like look up then the mountain, or even in the trees. Maybe he was in the trees and he fell from the trees. Like he's looking all in that kind of area.
Yeah, go ahead and mark off one of your terraforms or whatever you call it.
Right. I get 3.
And
So-
move up the tree. You get to the top and you're looking around. And based on your vantage point and your perception ability, you see no disturbance in any of the foliage around. He didn't come from any foliage.
Mhm.
You determined he didn't come from the tree, or at least he didn't break any branches on the way down. If he did, he
Right.
didn't fall down from the mountain, because looking at where a cliff would be, it would not have landed him in the area that he fell. Hey, it's Hogswall up.
Look at him.
Hey, Hogswall up.
Right here. Look right over here. Isn't he so cute though? Oh my!
Oh,
I love this little guy. He's such a good boy.
Emily.
Sorry. But yeah, so basically, I don't see anything.
Nothing worthwhile, yes.
Right.
But that in itself is worth something, right?
yeah.
Right, fair enough. Do I see any sign of like a giant eagle or a flying beast in the general area? Like maybe
Perception check.
Perception check.
Just
Ooh,
go
really
ahead
good.
and give me a perception check.
19 plus, I think it's 4. Yeah, so 23 total.
no sign of anything flying in the air. You see a crow, but not big enough to grab.
Right.
Was it an African or European crow?
African. I was gonna say hog swallow, but African swallow.
Dude, I need to rewatch that movie. I haven't seen that in way too long. It's a great reminder. Holy Grail, Monty Python, the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Mike.
Oh, is that what I'm referencing? Oh.
Well, it's a swallow. It's
African or European swallow?
swallow, yeah.
Well, an African swallow, yeah, but not a European.
I love the end when like the guy asks him like, "Oh, I forgot what the question was at the bridge, but like it's like about a swallow," and he's like, "African or European?" It's like, "Oh, I don't know that."
You know what was hilarious is the reason I actually knew that answer is because in SimCity back in the 90s, you could do like normal speed, fast speed, hyper speed, or African swallow.
Oh, really? They had that? That's hilarious.
That was the name of the speed. And so I knew it was African.
There you go. I didn't know that. That's funny.
That explains.
Like,
I've played that game and I was always confused by that speed. Interesting. It's all clicking now.
you've seen Monty Python, the Holy Grail, though, right, Mark?
Not at the time I had played SimCity 2000.
Oh, like so. Yeah,
I've never connected them before.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, back to this D&D world in front of you. Who's
Stay on it,
Grail.
Super.
What is it you guys are doing? You notice
I
a bunch
wanna-
of tattoos all over him as well.
Okay.
He's
Now,
dressed
what
in
is?
rags. Beyond that, yeah.
But he is chained.
Yes. There seems to be chains around him, though his body's so disfigured now, it's tough to tell. Roll me a medicine check.
While he's rolling a medicine check,
I can't actually physically touch
I got an 11.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. He rolled the. Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Oh, I'll come down. You said there's tattoos on him?
Yeah.
Is there anything I could glean from the tattoos? Like maybe something that represents like, oh, he's a dwarf from this group or whatever I can get from those tattoos.
As a gnome, what do you know about dwarves?
I know that they're a little bit taller than us, and
All right. In that case, you see a bunch of tattoos of squares all over him.
squares. Hey, you think this guy was a bit of a square?
Does Sparkmaster recognize any of these tattoos?
No.
Okay.
Would Red Cloud recognize any of these tattoos?
Would we have seen any
Well-
of these tattoos on any of the dwarves that have been our companions so far?
Good question.
Give me a intelligence check, Xander. And Red Cloud is not with you, Super.
Okay.
But if he
18.
was, he might.
Right.
18.
Ooh, that's good.
18. Looking back, there are a lot of tattoos all over the dwarves of Ironton. There was one individual that you passed by on the street that had a similar tattoo on his neck. You never made any contact with the individual and he passed by. That's the only recollection of this tattoo that you might have. It's a different size than the tattoos that are on his body, but the same shape.
And he's just in rags. So he's in.
Complete rag.
All right. Can you show me the chain, Super?
Show you the chain?
Show me the chains.
I kind of like show them up. I'm assuming I can't drag him over or whatever, but I try to show the chains as best as I can.
Yeah.
All right. Now, can we tell what kind of chains they are? What kind of make they would be? Are they a rough make? Say something that
Right.
an orc would make.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they like hella shoddy or are they like pretty refined? You know, good question.
Yeah, Sparkmaster can inspect the make of the chains. He,
All right,
can get
how
a,
would
he wants to
that-
get a good assessment for the quality of work. He'll use his blacksmith background.
Parkmaster, please do this. I would do it myself if I was able to, but I just can't. But I trust your eyes and your knowledge of this.
I am very familiar with smithing mechanisms. Let me take a look at these chains.
I like to sniff things too. Oh, Smith, I understand.
Roll investigation with advantage. Master.
Investigation with advantage. Okay.
So that means you roll twice and whatever's the
Yep.
better one.
I got a.
I'm glad you get to roll twice.
I got
I'm
a
not
6 and an
telling you.
11. I got an 11.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hold on now, Bardic inspiration.
They are made well. Whether they are orc or not, you cannot determine with that roll.
Mhm.
But you can determine they wouldn't be something as shoddy as goblin.
Do I know what kind of material they are? What kind of metal?
It is an alloy of sorts.
Mhm.
So it's not, let's say, steel, but a similar alloy of multiple different metals that have been combined.
You know, we may have someone here that might recognize those. Hawk,
Huh?
you recognize these?
That's a dwarf.
Do you recognize the chains? Who would have made these chains in this area, Hawk?
He goes over and he starts gnawing on them. And then starts gnawing on the piece of the. He takes one of the dwarf's fingers and. Tastes like shit. I do not know. I have not tasted such craftsmanship in some time.
Well, at what time in your past have you tasted such craftsmanship?
I don't recall.
Hawk.
Okay. We have some similar pickaxes in the mines I'm trying to find.
And who gave you those pickaxes?
We got them from underneath.
Underneath what?
I don't know. That's just what my boss told me.
So they're things that you found
In the
already
mine.
in the mine.
That sounds like something that could be true. I mean, you go into a mine to find things, do you not? We might have found some things. I don't know why you would find pickaxes in the ground already. That seems like an odd ore to find.
Sounds
But-
like an abandoned mine, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it. That could be true. Super, you are so wise. We should hang out more.
I'm really busy.
What do you think they got these pickaxes from, Xander?
I haven't seen the pickaxes. I'm more concerned about these chains.
Oh, yes, the chain. All I can tell you, though, is these fingers are not scrumptious at all. I would advise you not to make wieners out of them.
Advice will be taken at this point. So, well,
Hawk immediately starts peeing on the dwarf.
Stop. What are you doing, man?
Tastes like shit. I might as well piss on it.
That's not. How would you like it if we peed on you, man? That's not cool.
Hey, don't do that. I'm packing more than you are.
Besides the point. Ah. And then like Sumba just like kind of doesn't like walk away, but like kind of like like.
All right. So, do you guys feel that we still need this dome? Have the birds started chirping? Does the forest sound a little bit more like the forest now?
I would say after about 30 minutes, things are starting to come back to normal.
Do we want to go ahead and rest since I have the dome up and get an early start tomorrow?
With the dome up, maybe we should. But I must confess, this seismic activity is very disturbing to me.
Well, I think the seismic activity might be whatever launched him.
Indeed.
It seems like too much of a coincidence. I think you're right.
It does. I think it launched him quite a distance.
Right.
If we have half a day's travel, it might actually be from the top of Mithril Peak that they're launching dwarves.
Potentially.
Prisoners that they've gotten all the information out of them, they can. Or scouts that they've captured. I believe the king was going to send a couple of his own, but nothing big.
Maybe it has something to do with that smoke that the Namina saw. Potentially. Right.
At least he's not in danger.
We should exercise caution lest they be launching gnomes and dragonborn.
But I know you're right, or cats. But cats always land on their feet, so no problem there.
So he's good.
He's good to go.
Yeah.
You look up and you hear. Just kidding.
Right.
All right, I'm okay to bed down here for the night and get a full day in tomorrow.
So are we probably like 5, 6 o'clock now?
Yeah, I'd say about 6:30 with all of the events.
Okay, so here's what we need to do. Let's all go ahead and start to relax and bed down. We won't need to start really doing any sentry duty until about 2 a.m. To when the dome fades. So let's catch a rest.
Who's going to do the sentry duty in this case?
At 2 a.m. when the dome fades, I'll take the first watch.
Roll me a survival check, and that'll be the only survival needed, as most of the night goes really, really well. And it's going to be a very low DC.
You want survival?
Yes. Uh-oh.
7.
Well, lucky for your dome, set the DC at 6.
Awesome.
You wake up as the dome fades, looking around in the night. Owls, opossums, raccoons, and the like are all traveling around. Nothing big on the steps of this mountain where you are, as it's pretty steep around this flat plateau in which you've kind of made camp, deterring most of the larger animals. In the 3 hours in which you might be watching, nothing of importance happened. I'd say it's about 5:30 a.m. where you start to see the sun coming over the horizon.
I got to say, I always liked possums. I think they always got a bad rap. I think they're pretty cute. That's all I got to say about that.
Was that Soomper or was that Mitch?
A little bit of both.
Soomper's first words of the morning or that. And we're going to take a quick break because, gosh darn it, I need another drink. And then let's jump into getting the fuck out of this cave.
Cool. Oh, question.
All right.
Okay.
BLAT's avocado or fried rice for dinner. That's what
BLATs.
BLAT's. All right. Cool.
You could fry the rice with bacon and avocado, though.
That's true. I mean, she makes really fucking good fried rice. She's just really fucking good cook. But I think the LATs. I like that.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
I think that's the move.
You know? All right, cool.
To our
Anyways,
sponsors.
to
All right. Well, let's do our break. See you in 3 minutes. And we're back.
So we don't have lettuce, so it's fried rice tonight.
Also good. Chessie
Yeah.
makes really good fried rice too, so I'm assuming they're starting from the same base recipe here.
Likely, yeah.
Huzzah! Welcome to the world of Shawshank, where we are back, and our sponsors have thoroughly entertained you with a countdown timer. The morning is upon you, gentlemen. Shawshank Adventures, let's go forward. Let's go forth. You make your way forward. Roll me a d12, whoever's leading. How are you leading? Where are you bringing your animals? What's this look like, gosh darn it?
Sparkmaster will lead this one.
Oh.
Let's see. He's riding the horse.
Spark, a dragon on a horse.
Oh, okay. Not that's a 7, not a 1.
That was close.
I'm used to seeing 1, so I'm really happy it's a 7.
Was that a survival check or was that a d12?
That was a d12.
I see. Okay.
So as we're riding along on the horse, I'm just pointing things out to Sparkmaster as we're riding through the woods and asking him about his past and his family. It's like, so what did your father do, Sparkmaster?
My father was one of the best blacksmiths I've ever seen.
That is outstanding. So he taught you a lot about blacksmithing.
He did.
Yeah.
He taught me much until, unfortunately, he perished earlier than I would have liked.
Now, I like to believe my father's still alive, although it's been a lot of years. He was a great ranger. He taught me a lot that he knew as well. Good luck with this, and I take my horse back a couple.
All right, Xander, go ahead and roll a d12 as well. You know.
What'd you say, D12?
Uh-huh.
A 10.
All right, this is it. As you all gallop forward, Super, whatever the hell you're doing, following the rest of the crew, you can pick up on Namina's tracks that have gone forward.
Did you make him an eye patch?
Hog swallow? No,
Just every right step, it's just a squirt of blood comes out. Just
from Hog Swallop's eye?
yep.
But I did healing hands.
Just joking.
Well, the heck?
You did
Or
healing
cure
hands.
wounds, I guess I did. Not healing hands. But
Yes.
But yeah, I'm sorry. What was the question though?
Whatever it is you're about doing in the group, you guys are galloping forward. There's a little bit of conversation about prior histories. You realize you lost people and then it got awkward and you separated. But you come to a clearing. You begin to move through an area that is more open in its vegetation than the more steep side. A steep slope kind of meets your party on the right side as you're traversing around this mountain. The left side is angling down. You're almost to the bridge that you saw across the valley, but not quite. You notice a faint, sweet odor that kind of is different on this side of the mountain as you kind of curved around a bend. Sparkmaster, you don't notice this at all.
Mm.
Walking through a clearing you have here, your horses kind of start to stumble across different rocks, and you stop to gather yourself. Dismount for a second to make sure that the horses are okay. Their feet are okay. Hog Swallop's trotting was only because of his depth perception as for anything else. It seems to be, as you look on the ground, it's a grassy pasture, but
there are rocks kind of hidden within this ground.
I see. So it's just because of the terrain.
Yeah, you know to be cautious. You know to at least be cautious of where you put your feet if you were to travel on foot, or where your steeds to put their feet if they are to be the ones traveling here.
Sounds like some Wizard of Oz situation, if you know what I mean. Which nobody in this world would understand what I'm saying. But meta speaking.
Wizard of
We understand wizards, but not Wizards of Oz.
Right. Do I feel groggy? Do the animals seem groggy in any sort of way? And I announce like, it smells sweet over here. It smells sweet over here. I yell back to the group. Whatever, however they do it.
You don't notice. Roll me an animal handling check.
10 total, which is really good.
Thank you for that. No, they don't see any more groggy than the normal state that they are in. That being said, they are a little bit perturbed by the gravel, right? Like it threw them off a little bit.
Yeah, because the grass and stuff. Yeah. Is there like a way that's kind of around this flat area or whatever?
No, the easiest way, honestly, is through it because the rest of the mountain is a steep slope, and your trail has kind of come about this. And this is obviously the easiest way, though you need to be somewhat cautious as you move through. And check your Facebook, sir.
And I'm like riding Hog Swallop at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, you've dismounted if you want to.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll dismount and I'll like lead Hog Swallop.
Xander's going to pull up on the range as well and dismount and get down and actually check what these are.
And well, Xander could like check like what he wants to investigate, but once we start moving again, I'll like lead Hog Swallop, and so then I could kind of navigate what would be the best route for all the animals and stuff.
Okay, yeah, and Super, you're able to kind of kick them every once in a while until you start to feel where they are in this field, and as you look up, you kind of notice them more and more from a visual distance. You're like, oh, that's where one would be. That's where one would be. You get a good sense of how to navigate. You start navigating Hog Swallop through this. Xander, you reach down and you're kind of rubbing the moss off of these, and you kind of pick up one of the rocks, and your finger kind of goes through the moss. You lift it up, and in your hand is a skull.
Skull.
Do we know what kind of skull?
Sparkmaster, you don't see a skull. This is only Xander.
So, gonna just do a whistle.
Now do I see the skull? We're coming over.
Yeah,
Sparkmaster's going over to Xander.
Same as Super.
All right, so he's just going to signal everybody to dismount. And
I'll dismount.
it's probably already too late. We're probably already being watched. We need to leave the area we're in right now. And he'll reach down, he'll pick up the skull and hold it up. This is our uneven terrain.
Then you see in his hand a skull, missing its jaw, missing the side of its head, cracked open, the fragments of which are somewhere in the ground. A rather old skull with moss kind of tattered around it, but a skull, humanoid nonetheless.
So The long way? Let's backtrack and try to go along the edge of these and go around. I don't feel like going straight through is going to be our best bet. There's a lot of these down. So they've been put down for quite a while, maybe generations. It could be an orc encampment. It could be something way worse. But I do not want to be one of these.
How far through like this area are we?
And which way are we going as compared
Yeah.
to which way Namina went?
Right. Good question too.
Give me a survival check to track Namina's tracks. You have just started with maybe the first 20th of this clearing.
21 total, baby.
24.
And 24.
It seems Namina has come to this area, gone a little ways in, backtracked, and went up through the woods in a direction that you cannot carry your steeds with you. It seems with your 21 that he did it to circumvent this area and would continue on the other side of this area, you would presume, though you can't see his tracks that far away.
Now, is there an area where the valley meets the mountainside?
Yep. And Xander, you notice no rock fall or anything there. It's rather old vegetation. Nothing seems to be new from a seismic activity standpoint, given your background.
So we can pick out, okay, Namina went this way. Up
And he,
into
went
the hill.
above, and he went above that area. So
Right.
you see that cliff, the cliff goes straight up. He went above and around that.
It's far too steep to take the steeds. But perhaps we can take them along the side. At least it's not as rough of terrain, and at least we have covering on one side of us. Perhaps.
Super, Sparkmaster.
I'm not delegating, I'm asking opinions.
I mean, yeah.
I think-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sparkmaster.
I think if we can find a way to keep the horses and avoid this terrain, if it takes extra time, I think it's a good idea.
I agree. Kind of like what you were saying earlier, Xander. Like, might as well take it safe at this point.
Yeah. We slept all night. We've got extra time to travel. We're not in a
Let's go
hurry.
slow, let's go easy.
Yeah.
Let's dismount, walk them, and keep it quiet.
Yeah. Let's not do anything stupid on the way there.
And I'm going to turn around to Hawk and say, Hawk, do you know what this is?
Smells like death.
Yes.
That's right.
Do you know who makes this area like this?
Or what makes this area like this? Who or what?
This is the area you're from. Have you heard stories about this?
I was just told not to go toward a smell like this, but I'm no longer part of my clan. So you're adventurers, right? You'll protect me.
We will. Why were you told not to go towards something like this?
They don't tell me the whys, just the things to do. I'm
Well,
not a thinker, Xander. I'm a
Here's
doer.
what I'm going to tell you. Be quiet. Don't eat anything. Don't choke anything up. don't make any unnecessary sounds. Stay quiet, stay low, and stay with us. I can't protect you unless you're with us.
Okay, I will stay right in the middle, and I'll hold my farts, my burps, and my sneezes.
Much appreciated, Hawk.
All right.
Hi. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check as you guys navigate.
Uh-oh.
Rat bastard.
Do we all have to do it?
Nope, just whoever's leading.
Before we roll, and before we start this endeavor, I'm going to give Bardic Inspiration to Sparkmaster, Soomper, and Hawk.
All right.
Let me.
Xander, do you also want me to roll a stealth check?
Everybody's going to have to roll stealth.
No. No, he just said whoever's leading us to roll stealth.
Yep.
Only the leader rolls stealth.
Hawk just got a 19, so
At 24.
well done. As you and your steeds travel, Super, you pay extra attention to controlling the animals themselves as you go across. You can almost see on occasion, a avalanche of sorts of pollen kind of coming off of the upper cliff that falls just beyond where you're roaming. Your footfalls remain quiet. Your steeds even seem to not whimper. As you move forward, you clear the area without any contention. Moving forward, you turn around the corner of the mountain bend, and Soomper, you, my friend, are welcomed by a very familiar sight. Another clearing, very dissimilar to the one behind you. This one goes much deeper into the cliffs, and it's much flatter, almost created in a way. This would be a place that you would create a house or build a house. In a familiar site of Andy and Greta's. Magical morsels that you've encountered once before.
Wait. It's there, you're saying?
You see it here in its fullness. You see some portions of a white picket fence being constructed, though not yet finished. You see the same house that you were experienced in the middle of the woods, far, far from here, with the same signage right across the top. Andy and Greta's magical morsels. The rest of you see a beautifully constructed 2-story cabin with a large, brilliant sign bordered by carvings of muffins and pizzas. The building is set on kind of a large clearing of more tailored grass than you saw on your previous danger encounter clearing, which was full of grass and brambles. This is more of a well-groomed lawn, if you will.
Right. And I'm like, right when I see it, Super's like, guys, like, I've been here before, but it was on literally the other side of the island. And the people here, I think the lady Greta is some sort of enchantress, but we didn't really get to meet her. I think she's good, but I mean, we didn't really get to meet her. And Andy is aspiring to be a cook who makes really good pizza and calzones, and we helped them defeat like a calzone monster. I remember that. Anyways, it's just strange seeing it here. It should be on literally the opposite end of the island. And And I did plant a tree here, I remember. Is my tree here too?
You look and you don't see a tree that would resemble yours.
Interesting. So I did plant one of those teleport trees here,
Simper,
but it's not here.
do you feel there's a good reason for Andy and Greta to be here, or is this possibly an illusion by someone that is not Andy Greta?
It could be an illusion, but it could also be part of Greta's doing. As I said before, I'm pretty sure she was like some sort of enchantress or like a wizard or however you would put it. So it could be part of her like magical trickery. I think again that they're good, but I definitely advise caution right now. Just something to be aware of. Like, don't go in blazing, but you know.
So is this something we even want to go into, or do we just want to make a note that it's here and move on by?
Well, we want to hit all 12 encounters.
Just then you hear a thunderstorm begins to come on the horizon.
We might have no choice.
They actually had planned before you mentioned this. Sorry, Xander. It just seemed pertinent.
Blast my luck. We'll lose Namina's tracks in the rain, and he may lose ours. He may be lost in the woods forever.
Fuck.
We can signal him with some sort of spell, can we not?
Some kind of elk horn. If only we had an elk call.
Is there something I'm missing there? I feel like there's a joke there.
I have a bull elk call that we just
He
got.
does.
Oh, I see.
We can signal Namina. So
You
Simper,
know-
the way
Super, you know Magical Mike or whatever the guy's name is. Would you like to?
Magic Mike. Hey,
Mike.
I've seen that show before in Ironton.
Would you like to ring on the door?
I think I will. Unless you guys want to avoid it, but I mean, with this, is the storm? It looks like the storm's coming our way.
It's just brewing. It's several hours away.
Okay, so we got time.
I mean, we can risk just circumventing this place.
How far have we traveled so far?
Yeah, that's a good question too.
About 4 hours.
Right, but we had to kind of like also kind of go around. So we're what, maybe a third of the way there then?
Coming on a half, but not quite a half.
Right. Okay. I mean, there's certainly risk here, right? Because this is unusual that this is here. But
It is.
there's
Like
also risk.
11 a.m.
Yeah, you guys had a really early morning. You wander off kind of to the cliff edge. You look down and you can see that same bridge that's crossing. That's your full day's travel down. You can see it clear as day. There's just not a straight path there. You have to zigzag throughout this mountain to get there. And you're about halfway there. I would say somewhere around 11 a.m., maybe even 10:30. You've traveled for about 4 hours.
Your call, Super. You don't want to be rude.
I say that it's worth, because if, you know, I think it'd be a great benefit if they could help us actually too. I think we go.
All
So
right.
you're all okay with me knocking?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Knock.
So I approach the cabin or whatever you'd call it and knock.
Tell me first off, Super, what feelings do you feel as you kind of come up to this place? You've had a heck of a history here. You've had the good, the bad, and the ugly, but a pleasant surprise and a hell of a lot of good gifts coming from this place. Some good gifts I think you might still be harboring in your item pouch, but I'm not entirely sure. You had some coffees that were of extraordinary benefit.
Yeah, I don't think I brought the coffee with me, but I do remember that. And I remember like the food was really good, so like my tummy kind of rumbles a little bit, like kind of like, oh man, like I might get a good meal out of this. But I'm also like a little nervous because I'm like, what's going on? Why is this here?
Yeah.
But I'm also not trying to be overly paranoid because I understand that Greta is like a magical being. And so like I feel like that has something to do with it, but I don't really know. So I'm
And what's it called?
Greta and Andy's Magical Morsels. And if you're on roll 20, I'll show you where it was before. Here, one second. Yeah, it says Andy and Greta's. Yeah, if you see that. Right here.
And Super, you walk up, and you come up, and the boards creak in the exact same way that they did before. You feel more at home in the sense of this was literally your first adventure with this party.
Right.
The very first time you really set foot on the way to Ironton is when you found this. And since then, it seems like you've been traveling much greater distances than you've ever traveled on this island before. You know, you were stationed in Ironton once before. You finally made it back down to Shore Shack area in Alabasta. And you were there for some time until you went just out of there. And this was the last outpost, if you will, of society. Andy and Greta were all outcasts of society intentionally, sitting just outside the city limits to where they couldn't be taxed, but still close enough that they could do business with the people, and people would come out and grab their coffees to supply their shops. You know, this is really the last sense of civilization that you've had until your journey to Ironton, which, since you've been in Ironton, had no rest. You were traveling underground into caverns, seeing decapitated people and creatures of demonic form, if you will, people being butchered, your friend getting struck by a ginormous draconic creature. This is suddenly a very nostalgic home cooked meal type feeling. You knock on the door. You knock on the door once again. There's no answer.
Is there like a window or something that I could peer into?
Definitely.
I do so.
Yeah, jumping over, you see the same living room, and you, if you remember, there was a desk and a fireplace and a sofa. You're able to see that the kitchen that was a mess the first time you see it. You can see out of the corner of your eye, it's put together and well maintained. It doesn't seem like a calzone monster has wrecked this establishment in front of you.
All right. I go to the front door. I'm like, hey, Andy, Greta, like I'm coming in. Or I'm coming in. And so I try the front door. If it's unlocked, I go through the front door.
Yeah, you put your hand on the handle, and just as you do, you turn right. And it opens up.
Okay.
You walk in, and there's no one to be seen, but the place feels lively. Like it feels like a place that is ready for guests and or has guests, but there's nobody on the main floor at least. Now, if you do recall as a character, there was the basement in which you battled this calzone monster, and there was also the upstairs in which you found
Andy tied up and bound by a bunch of imps that were fucking with him, trying to get Greta to come back so they could enslave her or some shit. And then she came back and just fucked them all. And then somebody shot an arrow. Sho Tutatu killed a bunch of the imps with his first strikes of whatever he did, and he was really happy. But you were able to get their business back up and running on the upstairs.
All right, I'll go to the basement first, and I don't know if Sparkmaster and Xander followed me in.
I followed you in.
No, we've got to at least take care of the horses. So I'm going to, once we tether them up front, I'm going to at least stay on the porch where the door is.
Okay, and there's kind of a place to tie the horses and or pigs, whatever else you have with a thing to tie things with. You're able to tie them up. Xander, you're on the front porch, and there is a big, imagine like a southern estate type front porch with rocking chairs. That's what's there. As Sparkmaster, you go in following Super. Super goes into the kitchen. And this is a magnificently decorated kitchen. The utensils kind of swinging in a breeze that doesn't seem to be there, but they're just swinging in a sense that makes it very iconic and beautiful. There is a brick oven of sorts that is fired up with a stone slab kind of in front of it, almost completely covering it, but enough to let oxygen in to keep that fire stoked. The fire itself is stoked. You notice no smells or anything cooking, but that's there. You're impressed as hell with the kitchen, Sparkmaster. Coming from the place you are and the things you've seen, this is an incredibly well-kept kitchen, much grander and verbose in optics than your small town would have ever afforded. Super, as you open the door to go to the basement, if you recall, the door was in the kitchen.
Oh, and I tell Sparkmaster, wait here just in case or whatever as I go into the basement.
Yeah.
Whether or not he decides to, that's up to him, but yeah.
I will wait.
So what do you do in the kitchen?
I want to inspect that furnace. So it's stoked, right? When was the last time?
It's pretty happy, but it does have fire in it.
Yeah, it's okay. So it's burning very well. It's burning very well. I'm trying to assess when's the last time someone could have possibly put a log in there for it to maintain this state. Is it staying this way because it's some magical fire that's always burning, or is someone feeding this thing and if we wait 3 minutes, we're going to encounter the person that's stoking the fire? That's what I'm trying to assess.
Gotcha. So as you open this, let's say that you open it and you begin to peer through. Give me a perception check. Or survival check. Let's do survival.
Okay.
Perception is actually better.
Perception. Okay. That's good. I like that one. I got a 16.
Beautiful. Super. As you go over to the basement door, you pull it open and it opens without any issue. There's not even a creak in the door, which you noticed there was before. You look down the stairwell and there is no stairwell. It's just the ground. It's just the grass.
Just the grass. Oh.
It's as if
okay, yeah.
somebody took the house and placed it here, but nobody dug a basement for it. The door's still there.
So it's almost like a closet in this case, I guess.
Yes, except the stairs above, going to the roof above you, is still slanted. So it's a slanted closet that would normally take you down. It's just not taking you down. There's just bare grass there.
Right. Can I I'll like reach out a toe to like test the ground and see if it actually is indeed ground or maybe illusion.
Yeah, you bend over and you grab the grass and you pull it, and it even smells like real grass. Sparkmaster, as you look into the fireplace as he's doing this, it looks like a fresh placed log. Give me a perception roll. You said 16?
16.
You notice, though, there's no heat coming from it.
Okay, I was going to ask, can I put my hand in the fire and see if I get burned? I'm going to put my hand in.
Not at all.
Not at all. Can Super Xander hear me?
Well, you haven't said anything.
If I say something, will they hear me?
Xander, you cannot see. Super, you can potentially see his butt, but he is bent over, so it depends on how loud you say anything.
I just say, Super Xander, the fire's not real. That's it. I want to make them aware of the fact that the fire is not real.
Roll a perception check. Get over a 15 and you can hear him.
Is it perception?
Yep.
Oh no, I don't think I heard him.
21.
Yeah. No, yeah, 11.
Okay.
So since I didn't hear him, I'll make my way to go upstairs to see what I can find upstairs.
Oh, wait. And you shut the door and kind of turn around.
How far is
Aren't you
Super
two
from
in
me?
the same room, though?
How far is Super from me when he's turning around?
Based on his perception check and not being able to hear you, I'm going to assume he already took a round.
Got it.
That makes
Got it.
sense.
And that's the reason he didn't hear you.
Okay.
Super, you start making your way up and you get up to the upper level, and it seems exactly the same layout that you recall. The bed is oddly made, but there doesn't seem to be any individuals here or any trace of people, except for a cup on the desk that's half full of liquid. What would it be that you do?
Can I look at the liquid, see if there's anything I could take from it, like kind of smell it? I'm not going to drink any of it right now.
Yeah. You take a cup and you lift it up into your face. You smell it and smell nothing. Like, it's not even like it smells bad. It looks like wine, but you smell nothing. That moment, you don't do anything. We're going to freeze you there. Sparkmaster, we're going to freeze you there. Xander, we're going to freeze you there, and I was kind of hoping Show would show up for this. How do I want to crumble this cookie? This is going to be a fun one. All right. 7, huh? Okay. Super, as you reach down and you smell the glass and you go, there's nothing here. Suddenly the glass, razor sharp teeth comes up and just bites your lips. And gets a 14 to hit. Super?
I'm sorry, what was that?
14 to hit?
14 to hit?
Did he hit?
I have 14 armor class.
Then he hits. Take 2 damage, piercing damage right there. Sparkmaster, as your hand reaches in, the stone that was kind of occupying it that you pushed away slams shut on your arm and gets a 14 to hit as well.
15 armor class.
As it kind of hits and tries to buckle your arm, you're able to rip it out, and you see 2 eyes kind of pop up from the oven itself as you take back and pull out your sword. Xander, you hear that the fire's not real. What is it that you're doing? You have horses and steeds and your friends inside. Everything seems normal on the outside. Make a quick decision.
I'll draw sword and dagger and go stand by the horses.
All right. So as you run down to the horses, you get to the bottom step and you feel a pull at your foot. You look down, the bottom step somehow has one of the steps kind of forked over top of the step below it, as it seems like this building is almost trying to eat you in a way. A 19 to hit.
Hits.
And you get 2 points of piercing damage. It does not restrain you, though, and you're able to move out to the horses. Roll initiative, gentlemen, for you are fighting a house.
11.
Shoo. 21.
16. I don't know if you heard me.
All right. All right. We'll take a quick moment to gather yourselves. Mostly because I needed a drink. You have to figure out how exactly I'm going to do a combat versus a house. I haven't thought this one through yet. We'll see you in a second. Feel free to converse.
All right. So I'm not going to do the break thing. So
We don't know what's damaging us right now, right?
We think the house might be alive, but I don't know. So clearly the house is capable of probing our thoughts because it knew to make itself something that Super had seen.
Right.
it's a good theory.
It could also be some of the witchcraft or whatever you'd call it, sorcery from Andy and or Greta,
Yeah.
potentially.
But you would see you would assess them as good. So maybe that hypothesis is
Well, I mean, that's what Greta was kind of. It was interesting. I wouldn't. It would seem that way, but we didn't really get
Yeah.
the best. Like Greta seemed kind of like on her own fucking level. Like meaning, I don't think she was really like. She seemed kind of like aloof, if that makes sense. Not like she like helped us, but mostly because like, you know, there was like a fucking calzone monster and imps like attacking their place, and so she just kind of like got rid of it, you know, and like, oh, like you're here, okay, cool, bye bye, you know what I mean?
yeah. So
Yeah.
we don't really know her motives, but she didn't strike us.
Zero
as bad.
idea. Yeah, what
Yeah.
her motives are, but she seemed all right, and it. I mean, I think I'm leaning more towards kind of your theory, but I, you know, just want to throw out my
Yeah.
thoughts.
Possible alternatives, yes.
Right.
Okay. So we're fighting a house. We don't know where this house comes from. What does one strike when
Or if
fighting
it's
a
even
house?
a house.
Yeah. So quick question for you guys tactically. A spell like Bless, do I need line of sight to cast Bless on you guys, or if you're just in range, I can bless you?
You need to read the description. I don't remember on Bless.
It says you bless up to 3 creatures of your choice within range, but it's like if I can't
Then
see you, how can
they
I
don't
bless?
need to be. They don't need to be line of sight then.
Got it.
If
got
it's
it.
line
So
of sight, it'll say within sight.
got it. Okay. Okay.
Come up with a good way that you can sense their presence.
I've not sensed this presence since.
I mean, I know where they have gone. We've sort of been keeping I've been keeping tabs on where they've been. I know Super went upstairs. I can hear him. Can hear his footsteps. I hear the horses interacting with Xander, so I know where they are.
What's the range of Bless?
30 feet. Are you guys in 30 feet of me? Super probably is.
Would think so, but yeah, I don't know.
It's only 10 yards, so it's
Yeah, Xander might be a little out of range.
probably not.
Yeah.
Or I'll be right back.
Did Anthony say he was going to join us? I haven't been monitoring that chat.
He said he'll tune in as soon as he is unloaded.
Okay. He might come save the day here. But gosh darn it, until then. Yes. Let's see. Super. Spark. Xander. A 10. A 15. That makes it fucking easy. Well, gosh darn it, there should be some combat, right?
All right.
All right, Xander,
Yeah.
you are at the top of the initiative order.
Yeah.
You have a foot bit. You are near the horses, the pigs, and Conan. What is it that you're doing? It's not entirely evident to you what's going on. It seems
No, not
Bears had
particularly.
trapped you in a way, almost like an incantation of sorts.
I mean, to me, it's more of like I just almost tripped going down the stairs.
Except your foot's bleeding.
And
I'm going to put you on a time limit.
okay.
You only have 6 seconds you're acting, so.
All right. I'm going to cast Fairy Fire on the house.
All right.
Or at least where the step area where I was just at, I'm going to cast Fairy Fire on it.
Read Fairy Fire to us.
Each object in a 20-foot cube within range is outlined in blue, green, or violet. Any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light if it fails a dexterity saving throw. For the duration, objects and affected creatures shed dim light in a 10-foot radius. Any attack roll against an affected creature or object has advantage if the attacker can see it. And the affected creature or object can't benefit from being invisible.
What is the DC?
My spell DC is a 16.
Damn, that's a good DC. All right. Absolutely everything in the house begins to glow.
It's basically like those heat vision goggles. It almost sounds like, or whatever you
Yeah.
call it. That's cool. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Almost everything in the house and the front porch begins to glow. You notice the steps themselves kind of quivering a bit, each of them glowing kind of individually. The pillars on the front porch, the pillars that are kind of the fence, each one of those pillars themselves begin to glow. The rocking chairs begin to glow. The door begins to glow. The chandelier begins to glow. The sign itself above begins to glow. Everything about the front of this house is just beaming with this magical light that you're kind of accustomed to.
All right, so that puts up a red flag, and Xander will yell out, "Get out of the house! Get out of the house!"
All right, coming to Soomper. Soomper, you're going upstairs. You had smelled this cup, and the cup itself had kind of down on you. Suddenly, the desk that the cup is on itself begins to morph a bit, and its arm begins to come out. And as it comes out, teeth seem to form around it as it slaps onto your leg with a 19 to hit,
Yeah, it hits me.
dealing 4 points of damage.
Right.
It is now your turn.
4 damage. I fucking.
Sparkmaster, you're on deck.
All right.
Is there a window?
There is.
Can I? How high? I'm like, it's on the second floor I'm on, right?
Correct.
Fuck. I dive out the window.
All right, roll me an acrobatics check.
All right. 10 plus 13 total.
Okay. So as you move away from this desk, it's a 10 and an 18. The 18 hits.
Yes.
You take 2 points of piercing damage as well as you dive into the window. And the window itself, as you dive into it, seems to grow teeth and come down and just sandwich around you.
Fuck.
Mm.
With a natural 1, it seems to bite the leg of the table that kind of went and kind of attacked you, bites down on it, and you hear this shriek like "Ah!" from the table next to you. But you hit this solid surface and fall down before it kind of Venus flytraps shut and misses you. The window is not a real window.
Oh.
So what happens? Do I just like?
You're on the ground of the upper floor.
So I like basically ran into a wall, is what it sounds like.
Correct.
Okay. Fucking yay!
You still have 20 feet of movement at least.
I try to make my way down the stairs
Okay.
and out the door, the front door, if I have enough space to do so.
Yeah. As you move away from the window, it takes a 14 to strike you.
I have 14, so yeah, it hits.
Takes 1 point of piercing damage. As you grab the rail to move around, you can feel the rail itself clamp down on your arm. It seems the whole house is alive to some degree.
Right.
It takes a 17 to hit and takes 3 bits of piercing damage as it takes just a chunk off the top of your wrist. Just kind of pierces out of you. Everywhere you move, it seems that something is grabbing and eating and grasping onto you. That said, it's now all their turns because all of those were opportunity attacks.
Well, fuck. Okay.
I don't have enough dice. Fun. Oh, yes, I do. No, that's for Sparkmaster. Super, you're royally screwed. Okay. As you kind of turn around, the ground itself starts to quiver. A board shoots up and turns into this inanimate object type creature with eyes that blink within itself. The desk itself runs after you. The window is now hopping along. The wall itself begins to kind of morph against the hole that was created from behind it. It hasn't quite solidified the hole yet. There's a hole back there, but it's attempting to solidify and cover that hole up within itself. The window itself is hopping around the ground. It's a 19, an 18, a 21, and a 6 to hit. I'm assuming the 6 is the only one that misses. You have a 7 points of piercing damage as these inanimate objects come just rumbling toward you. You look down the stairs as the stairs themselves begin to have gnashing teeth, though they haven't come out to attack you or come to you yet. They seem to become alive to some degree. Sparkmaster.
How far am I from the door?
Attempted to get stricken by the oven. You're about 10 feet from the front door, moving through what looks like doorways that are becoming alive around you. You can hear the shrieks of Super above. Super, if you were to make a noise during this whole thing, and I imagine you have the opportunity to do so, what would that sound like?
Holy shit, the house is moving. It's alive. Ah! Get out now. Attack everything. Does that count? Oh, yeah. Okay.
So my move here is to make as quick of a dash as possible for that front door, even up to including jumping and diving out to get out of the house, because I don't want whatever's in there surrounding me. I would rather be outside and engaging with whatever this creature is from the other side of that door. I feel like I'm in its trap and I got to get out of here.
All right. It's a 9, 11, and a 14.
To what?
Attacks on you.
Oh, none of those hit.
Okay, as you move through, you pull yourself away from this oven. The oven begins to almost grow in like its mouth kind of pulls toward you. You're able to glance it off as it kind of blows against your shoulder plate. Moving forward, the clink, 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 which is not good for stealth by any means, protects you against a door that gnashes against your arm, but doesn't put any pressure on you as the pressure of the plate holds it, and you pull through. You move forward to the very front door. The doorstep itself coming out to grab your foot and goes and tries to grasp your ankle, and you can just feel the teeth of this thing shatter against your leg plate as you rip your foot through the mouth of this creature as you set foot on the front porch. You've got 10 more feet of movement. If you'd like to break a little bit further through, you can.
Does anything on the porch seem to be alive, or am I sort of out of this creature's grasp?
That's going to be glowing.
Everything is glowing around.
Everything's
you.
glowing. All right, I'm gonna use.
Give me an intelligence, or give me a intelligence check, DC 18, because there's a hell of a lot going on.
11.
You don't notice anything moving off of a whim.
Okay, but is it glowing? Do I notice the glow?
Everything in the front of this house is glowing, but his spell doesn't just make live things glowing; it's objects as well.
Okay, got it. Okay, all right. So now, several things
within glow.
Creatures glow, right?
Creatures and objects, right?
It's just creatures.
Any creature in the area.
when the spell is cast.
Yeah. So what's glowing here?
No, it's all still glowing.
Okay. So the whole house is glowing.
Correct.
Okay. I want to. I've got what, 10 more
5,
feet?
4, 3.
I want to get off this porch. Get set on some ground that's not glowing.
All right. You move forward, and you get a nat 20 hits you. The other 2 miss. So that'll be double damage roll. You get a 3, you get 6. Oh, no, that was 3. That's 3 damage.
Okay.
As you begin to make it through, the swings themselves begin to kind of move toward you. The boards begin to unlash themselves. In the same area in which you have to walk down with the steps, one catches your leg and knocks you prone as you kind of fall forward 5 feet from the house.
Okay.
And that's where we'll end your turn.
Can I do a bonus action?
Yes.
I want to cast Vow of Enmity on the house.
Okay. Go ahead and read that to me.
You can choose a creature you can see within 10 feet, and you gain advantage on attack rolls against it for 1 minute, or until it drops to 0 HP or falls unconscious.
Okay, what are you targeting?
The house. The house. Can I do the whole house?
Okay.
The creature I want to target is the house.
Okay. As you're there and you cast this, the sign itself kind of falls forward, looking like a full sign. As it's falling through the air, it looks like it's about to land on you, and before it does, the face of it just opens up into a mouth. And then just bites onto you, grabbed by your armor. It takes a 17 to hit. Does that hit?
Yes, that hits.
There's 2 17s and a natural 1. As one of the steps kind of pulls forward, grabs a hold of you as well, and begins to try to pull you back into the house. You take 3 points of piercing damage and 1 point of piercing damage.
Okay.
As another one of these creatures comes down, as the pillar of the house just falls over, rolls, and snaps at you, you're able to pull your arm out of the way and grab one of the signs and shove it into its mouth, as it then bites down on one of its fellow creatures and takes a piece out of it. Xander!
Wait, attack of opportunity would have been my bonus action. Okay, never mind.
That would have been a reaction, but the attack of opportunity is only if a creature moves out of your range.
Got it. Okay.
Xander, your 2 friends were in a house. You see one of your friends tumble out, and the house begin to try to consume him. Soomper is still in the house as far as you're concerned, and this whole house has become the creature that's attempting to eat your friends. What is it that you're doing?
I am going to
7, 5, 4, 3, 2.
take a swing at the railing.
All right, you run up and
Double
just
hit.
go ahead and roll some attack rolls, good sir.
$18 and a
Roll damage.
7.
Roll damage for one of them.
8.
You slice at one of the pillars, if you will, and the pillar just crumbles into dust as it falls to the ground. There's no creature that still exists within the thing that you struck. You can look back at your horses and you notice that the thing you tied them up to has now come alive as well.
All right, I'll use my movement to head to the horses.
All right.
Actually, I will command Conan to attack that creature.
He does no attack now, doesn't he?
He does no attack.
So you don't need to roll an animal handling check. We'll call that a bonus action. He goes ahead and roll an attack roll for him. I don't know his bonuses offhand, but let's just go with wolf stats.
All right, that is an 11
Plus that hits.
plus 4.
Go ahead
So
and roll damage. 2d4 plus 2.
plus 2. Six.
As the wood that you tied your horse to begins to animate and begin to almost snap shut on the horse's face, you can see these giant teeth come. Conan grabs a jugular, if you will, and rips it out just in time for this thing to kind of collapse on the horse's face and then become dust as it just falls around it. The horse is still blinking like this, not moving, in complete shock and awe, frozen. Super. You're
Where
running upstairs. The house is trying to eat you.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
There's a hole in the wall behind you. You could potentially dive out if you wanted to. Otherwise, you have to go down these stairs that all seem to be growing teeth.
I will try to dive through that hole in the wall.
Okay. You will back up. Give me an acrobatics check to see how you land. You're going to make it through that hole, taking 4 attacks of opportunity.
Oh, wait. Yeah, describe this hole first, though. Is it like the window, or what do you mean by the hole?
It was where the window was. The window had hopped out of the wall and began to try to eat you.
Right.
That left a hole in the wall, which you are not entirely sure is the same as the window, except for you can see a live background behind it, which, thinking about the window itself, looked more like a painted background.
All right. I am going to try to go for that. I'm going to... Yeah, like I'll try like my best to kind of avoid these other things while I dive out that hole in the wall. And if I'm successfully dived through that hole in the wall, like I want to do something mid-dive as well. If that
Okay.
works
Yeah,
out.
roll the acrobatics check to see
Yeah.
how
Ooh, pretty good. 19 total.
nice. A 13 and a 13, a 12, an 8, and an 18. So only one of these things is you high knee through them as your knee. Actually, describe this whole scene to me. You run past 4 snarling things. Only one of them gets you, and you dive through a window or a hole in a wall from a 2-story incline and then do something. Go ahead and describe the whole scene to me.
Right. So like I start making my way down, like I'm about to go down the stairs, but then I see like the window pops out. Boom. I like fucking pivot, run, and then I do like a little kind of like jump and like kick off the wall to avoid the 3 out of the 4 things that are there. And then when I land, the fourth thing, whatever that is, like gets me.
Yes.
And then like as it gets me, I'm like, and then I dive out like towards that hole in the wall. How much damage do I
As you
take?
dive, it almost has a hold to your foot, but you're able to push up enough that it just shreds your foot a bit
Ooh.
to do those 3 points of damage.
All right.
But you have leather armor, so it doesn't get as deep as it might have if you didn't.
Right.
And you're able to push through, and you now see open air, and the absence of opportunity attacks hits you as you turn around and look at the house. What is it that you're doing?
I fucking shoot spike growth right into the middle of the goddamn house. So like it just basically gets enveloped like from the inside. It has spike growth. And so what happens with spike growth is the ground in a 20-foot radius centered on a point. And I do it like I shoot it like pretty much at the stairs. So it'll like grow like in a circle, like around like this house, right? It becomes difficult terrain for the duration, which the duration is I have to concentrate for up to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Whenever a creature moves into or within the area, it takes 2d4 piercing damage for every 5 feet it travels. Yeah, the ground is camouflaged to look natural. Any creature that can see the area at the time of the spell's cast.
All right, have 2d4 ready for me, sir.
Yes, I got a bunch of d4s.
Okay.
I got d4s. Oh, I got d4s.
Okay. As you reach out, you turn around and you cast Spike Growth. You hit the ground hard and take 5 points of bludgeon damage as the wind just knocks out of you as you hit the ground. But you get the spell off.
All right. 5 damage?
5.
Gotcha.
And we'll say roll a con save.
All right. 14 total.
What's the DC for maintaining does anybody know? What the DC for maintaining
It's going to be whatever his. It might be under. It might be under your spell.
I'm not sure. Actually, it doesn't seem to...
Whenever you take damage, what a DC equals to 10 or half the damage you take. Okay, cool. Well, you rolled higher than a 10. Congratulations, you maintain concentration on your spells. You hit. But the spike growth, you can see the vines kind of tether around the back part of the window coming out of the camouflage, sure, but not against the house. Congratulations. Super! It is now all of the creatures that were around you, which is a fuck ton of them. As they start to move around, I need you to roll. Well, first off, they're not going to be able to get to you with difficult terrain. They move through. Roll me 2d4. How do you want to do this? Do you want to do 2d4 for each one? Probably not.
2d4 for every 5 feet it travels.
Roll me 2d4 twice.
Okay. 3, 5 for the first one total.
Okay.
2, 6 for the second one total.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So as you're looking out this hole in the wall, the window seems to pull forth, and you can see a vine just still stuck to it and just pulls pieces of it across. And just suddenly dust just disintegrates into the air as it goes on. The desk itself pulls out and begins to crawl out of the house, and then just as dust kind of disintegrates around. One of the boards itself pull through and then just disintegrates around. And then the cup hops over, begins to pull together the windowsill itself that still remains and grabs a hold of the outside of this house, pulls forward and begins to just, the eyes itself look right at you as 2 vines pierce through its eyeballs and then just... A lot of creatures have disintegrated trying to come eat you. Congratulations, sir.
Hell fucking yeah.
MVP on that one. Sparkmaster, it is your turn. You are on the ground outside 5 feet in front of this building that is trying to consume you, your friend, and Super is still inside.
You're on mute.
Oh, I forgot to.
I don't
Sorry.
recall myself.
Right.
Okay, what are the nearest creatures to me?
Depends what you define as a creature, but there are pieces of inanimate objects that are trying to eat you.
What are the nearest moving things trying to eat me to me?
A staircase. No, the sign that fell on top of you and bit you.
Does getting up off this prone position count towards my actions at all, or?
It takes half of your movement speed.
Okay, I'll get up. Definitely.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna.
You are now littered with inanimate objects that have now grown eyes, faces, and are munching on your extremities.
How many of them are there?
There are 3 around you.
Got it.
One
Are
is
they
a sign,
where-
one is a pillar, and one is a staircase.
How are they placed around me?
In 3 different sides.
Okay.
Your backwards away from the building is wide open. Your front, your left, and your right have creatures all around you.
Got it. Okay. I'll attack the one on my front.
Okay.
So let me do a.
Go ahead and roll your attack and your damage because it's a good chance you're going to hit.
Okay, my attack is a 19.
You're on deck. Go ahead and roll damage.
Damage is 6.
You strike hard on this creature, and the staircase itself just buckles. Its mouth, part of that staircase, buckles almost into 2. It's snarling on 2 sides, but the front, the wooden portion of it seems to have just broken. But it looks at you, and its eyes look just devilishly into your soul. Anything else you would like to do?
Then I'll continue, and I still have 20 feet of movement, right?
1. Yes. Last chance.
Yeah, I'll move more towards Xander and the horses.
Okay. You move towards Xander and the horses. They take 3 opportunity attacks at you. You get a 13, an 18, and a 22.
Okay, the 18 and 22 hit.
Okay. It does 6 points of piercing damage total.
Okay.
And you are able to move out of their vicinity and towards Xander and the horses. Xander is not. Xander, you move back toward the horses?
No, Conan was with the horses.
Okay. Where would you like to move, Sparkmaster? Xander is combating the building face to face. The Conan and the horses are back probably about 20 feet away from the building. And you're able to make it there if you would like.
I'll make it there.
Okay. You move next to Conan. Conan looks at you, greets you in a like, okay, we're going to fuck this building up, in a sense that Conan doesn't quite know that buildings can't eat you, but you definitely do. And you look back at the buildings, ready for combat. Xander, we come back to you. You have demolished a single pillar of this building, and it knew not to fuck with you. But he's no longer alive to tell his friends.
Hold on. Is it too late for me to do a bonus action?
Tell me what it is.
Shield of Faith.
Bingo. Read it.
Shimmering field appears and surrounds a creature of your choice within range, granting a +2 bonus to AC for the duration.
Who do you go?
Can I do myself? I do Super.
Yes. You can do it yourself if you like. You don't see
I'll do
Super.
myself.
Xander yourself. Okay.
Okay.
What does that look like on you?
It's glowing white, but kind of silver, almost maybe a platinum-ish kind of color. It's shimmering, and it is, you can see through it, but I'm clearly shimmering in there's some sort of electric energy surrounding me and glistening. My armor is
Xander, you see this over your left shoulder as you look over. You look back at the house. What is it that you're doing?
So the three things that were attacking him were the staircase.
The staircase, the sign, and a pillar, I believe.
All right. Am I immensely engaged with anything right now?
You are engaged with a. I'm trying to think of all the objects on a house. You would take one opportunity attack if you decided to leave and engage those other three.
Well, then let me swing at whatever is there.
Okay. What part of the house would you like to swing at?
If the stairs have detached and we're attacking him, right?
Yep.
So just the porch itself.
Okay. Part of the porch is buckled up, and it's not the board itself that became a thing, but the board and the footing it's attached to just became a thing and is kind of coming at you in that sense. And as it opens up, you go ahead and swing at it. What do you roll?
So the rapier is a 9, and the dagger is a 25.
Go ahead and just roll damage on the dagger.
7.
Nice. The thing becomes just a gaping hole in the pillar of this thing, dust as it begins to fall. What would you like to do?
I'll yell back to the other two. Can we just burn this?
I can try it. I don't know if I can burn it.
Super, you're on the other side of the house, so you don't hear any of this.
Okay.
And he's not engaged with anything, right?
Sparkmaster is not.
And I'll
6.
I'm going to use the what the hell is it called? Beast Bond to talk to Conan and tell him to hold until somebody else is engaged.
Okay. Noted. Super. It is your turn. You are on the ground. The wind knocked out of you. You see these creatures jumping out you. And then as they do, just the spiked tangles in which they're pushing through just seem to rip them apart as pieces of inanimate flesh start to rain down upon you. You are on the ground. What is it that you do?
I kind of back up from the house a little bit, maybe like 10 feet. And while I maintain my concentration, so the spell continues, that it seems to be very effective, at least so far. Kind of try to circle my way around the house to meet up with my friends. I won't be doing anything else, so I don't know if I could move even more. But I don't know if like concentration kind of negates that or not. So I'll leave that to.
You can move. You can move 30 feet or 25 feet. I think because you have short legs.
Right. I think it's 25. One second. Actually, let me just double check. Just so
you can move double your speed if you don't want to do any actions.
Yeah, I guess concentration doesn't count as an action then.
No. And so as you round the corner, you make it around the corner. You can see there's a good 30 feet. 30 or 40 feet potentially to get to the horses of where Sparkmaster is. You can see him in an armor glowing with an electricity, wounded, but stoic nonetheless.
All right. So I just continue to like maintain my spell because it seems to be good and effective. And like if the house itself moves, like it'll really fucking shred up the house, right?
Yeah.
So I just keep on doing it. Well, at least in my mind, that's what would happen. And so, like, I continue to make my way with my friends. I'm like, you look fucking tight as hell, Sprockmaster, hell yeah, is what I say. And that's my turn.
Okay, so you're gonna run your full. Is it 25 or 20 feet?
It'll be 25 times 2. I'm at 20 feet right now, but that's because I haven't edited it because I got my toe fixed.
Toe fixed. Well done, by the way.
Yeah, I needed
it really
to.
makes a difference.
Thank you.
Okay. You make your way around, and let's say you're about 5 feet from Conan and Sparkmaster. You're not quite there yet, but you didn't take any opportunity attacks because you could have made it, but you would have had to cut the corner, and you realize the house is trying to eat you. So you steered clear, at least from a 5-foot perspective.
Right.
That being said, nice. Okay. 2 creatures kind of follow you out from the bottom portion of this house where the spike growth spike growth is 20 foot. Mitch? Spike growth is
it's a 20-foot radius, and I have like 150 foot.
That would count. Okay.
Range.
So roll me 2d4.
Right. 5 total for that 1d4. Or
Okay.
the 2d4.
2d4. Yeah. 5 for a 1d4 is really tough to do.
Yes.
These 2 creatures kind of come out as the vines are wrapped around them. They kind of pull through, just fucking tattered. Get up to around where you are and begin to try to gnaw at you, but they're just so in shambles that they miss and kind of fall at your feet. They're within 5 feet of you. They are right there at your feet. They just weren't quite able to bite you.
Okay.
2 of them.
Right.
Sparkmaster, it is your turn.
Okay, so if I'm looking around and surveying the battlefield, how many of these things can I hit in a 30 by 5 foot line without hitting Sumper or Xander? Like, where are these things arranged that are attacking me?
Xander would be your trouble. Xander is in between the house and you.
Okay.
At this point, though, the whole house is coming apart into pieces of inanimate objects and just flesh-like creatures. It's no longer, it's looking like a house, but the whole top portion of it has become almost like cockroaches falling off of the top of this thing.
So can I zap this thing and somehow avoid Xander?
Read your spell for me. It's a cone, right?
Yeah, and it is actually, so my breath weapon is an action once per short rest. Exhale in a 5 by 30 foot line.
So you could do a line without hitting Xander for sure. You
Again-
are 20 feet away from
Yeah.
the house, so you would get 10 feet of house
10 feet of house.
into your breath.
I want to do that.
Roll damage.
Now, it does say that when I use your breath weapon, each creature in the area must make a saving throw.
Okay.
DC is 8 plus my Constitution, so it's a DC 9. And if they hit the saving throw, they get half damage.
Okay, they all take half damage.
They all take half damage. Okay, so I'm gonna roll my breath weapon, and breath weapon does 5 total, so each of them are taking half.
Okay. I love having armies of monsters to
So how many did I hit? Just out of curiosity, do I know how many I hit?
You have no idea, but you see pieces of these cockroach pieces of this building kind of whimper as the whole building itself is kind of collapsing from the top down, but the strike of lightning that you did kind of indents the building as almost like living tissue takes scar on the left side, just left of where Xander is. Xander, I guess it's not quite your turn yet. There's a lot of things that want to attack you. Okay. You have a 21, a 22, a 13, and a 9.
2 of them.
All right. As this buckling thing forward, this patio itself, more of them unbuckle. One of them launches at you. You dodge out of the way, and then behind you, one of the pillars comes down and just swoops and just gets you in the lower spine. As you're kind of bitten by this thing for 4 damage, one of the planks hops out and nips at you in the front and just bites your toe ever so slightly for 1 damage. So you take 5 total. And then a large piece of the ceiling comes falling down, and you dive out of the way, landing on your feet. Take 5 total damage, and are now in combat with 4 of these creatures.
Got it. All right. Well, I'm getting tired of this.
1 second. As they start to move, Super, roll 2d4 for me.
All right. 6 total.
Okay. 2 of them disintegrate as they come to attack you. You're only in combat with 2 in the end. The other 2 still hit you and they don't disintegrate. But it reduces the number you are encountered with for this turn. So instead of 4, you're encountered with 2.
Did you get hit?
Super did not.
Okay. All right. So I'm engaged with 4.
2. His spike growth had eliminated 2 of them as they came down to attack you.
Oh.
Sparkmaster, you're on deck.
Okay.
Okay. So the house itself is looking spare, pretty limited.
There are a lot more pieces left
Where's a big chunk of pieces at?
in front of you. It is massive enough that the base, the first story of the building still looks like a building. The top story of the building has been coming down and kind of raining around you, getting disintegrated by a lot of the spike growth, but also coming down and taking strikes on you. The whole first floor is still pretty much intact, minus the patio that's been trying to eat you.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
All right. So I can cast 60 feet in or 60 feet away from me. So I'm going to cast Shatter. On the intersection of the first floor.
Okay. It's a DC what Constitution save?
16.
Or half damage?
Or half damage, yeah.
All right, go ahead and roll damage.
Which is a 3d8. 12.
As suddenly the whole house is, as it starts to kind of cave in itself, the patio in the front, the first floor walls like shatter. Pieces of the wall itself just start to disintegrate as the rest of the pieces kind of fold in, as they were relying on the support of this building inner to kind of support it. What else would you like to do?
I've got 2 engaged with me, so Conan will attack one of the ones that is engaged with me, so he'll get his pack tactics.
All right, so Conan runs from about 15 feet away, runs up. Go ahead and roll that attack. Advantage with pack tactics?
Let's see, I've got it all written down.
It's advantage or
Advantage of allies within 5 feet.
okay. Let's go ahead and roll that with advantage.
He's going to get 10
Yeah,
plus
damage.
4, 14.
Roll damage. Actually, I think he gets this guy no matter what. How do you want to do it?
He's going to run straight forward and just do a running dive and just chomp right into whatever piece of wood or whatever, like he's jumping on it like he's playing fetch.
And so you do see as his teeth sink into this wood that it doesn't splinter like wood would, but it's almost like flesh itself as this mimic of sorts begins to just disintegrate into his teeth as he
So
bites.
it's almost like he sees Namina as he's running towards it.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. Super. You've made it back to where Conan was. Conan just darted past you to go help Xander in the midst of combat on this house. You look back, the house seems to be crumbling in on itself. You think for a moment, thank God I'm not in there.
Yeah, I think that. Yes.
Will you be a contributing player of the game, Mitch?
So, I mean, it's collapsing, right?
Correct.
Maybe that's like a house's version of bleeding. So it's not. I was gonna be like, I'm like, hell yeah, but like maybe it's not quite done yet. Fuck. I guess what I'll do. I don't know if I should like just maintain what I'm doing.
One.
I'm just
All
gonna
right, Master.
maintain my concentration.
Okay. You sit there engulfed as this house seemingly shreds itself on your spell.
Right.
The two around you, though, do attack you. And you take an 18 and a 5. So the 18 does hit. Go ahead and roll me a Constitution save and take 3 points of damage.
All right, I'll do 3 points of damage first, and then a Constitution.
Yeah, that's Sparkmaster Super, not you.
No, that's super. That's super.
I thought you said Sparkmaster.
That's super.
Constitution 14 total.
Nice. You make the save, take 3 points of damage, and we'll call your turn good. Sparkmaster, it is now your turn, my friend. The house is crumbling. You can actually see the house moving, and then just vines almost start to overtake it. You're not quite aware of what's going on. It seems like the combatant of some demonic vine creature tied to a possessed house that's turning into cockroach-like creatures pouring out of this thing. You're not entirely sure what you're caught up in.
Which is, I imagine, not unlike the rest of the party. So, as I assess the battlefield, which pieces of the house are closest to my my companions? I feel I've kind of moved out of the combat area. I don't have anything biting at my heels anymore. Where can I go and engage and help somebody that might be under immediate duress?
Super is right near you, and he has two of these creatures that don't look real good. They're barely holding on, but they're still trying to eat him.
Okay. I'll move towards Super, and I'll take... Is Xander, how much threat is Xander under?
He has a giant house that seems to be trying to eat him, but then is also being torn apart by some evil vines in the middle of it. So there's a lot going on. I think you would be reminded in your past
of a very epic battle in epic proportions, much greater than yourself, and being a bystander in the midst of it. That is what Xander looks like to you.
Is Xander caught up in anything, or can he potentially move away if he's threatened?
He is combating with two individuals. One individual.
Got
it. Him and Conan are both there.
Him and Conan are both there. Okay, and how far are they from me?
About 15 feet.
Okay. I'll move in towards Xander and attack the strongest looking thing that's attacking him.
Okay, you got one. Go ahead and roll a roll.
And I roll a 21.
Nice. He only has 1 HP, so you smash him to little smithereens.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me a little cinematic. Give me a cinematic smash. What does that look like?
So, Sparkmaster wields his sword high above his head. And the sword catches a little bit of sunlight and is glimmering in the sun. And people can catch sight of this. And he just brings it down, smash, and cleaves it in half.
Nice. And the pieces just, and they turn to flesh and kind of just melt into the ground. The house itself is being torn to pieces within, it seems like. The left corner of the house is the only one that's still erect, as it's the furthest one from a lot of this combat. And you hear a whispering of like 1,000 voices kind of go across the airwaves saying, enough. We can trade. Stop. Apologies. Jeez. Kind of echo around you. And in that moment, I'm going to use the restroom. I'll leave it to you to discuss.
So was that coming from the house? The house is apologizing, essentially?
It seems like it.
Right. Seems like it.
No.
I'm sure it's not the house itself. It's whatever is enchanting it.
Whatever's enchanting the house. Now, it said did it say we can trade?
That's what I heard. Trade.
Well, we should ask what it wants to trade, but at the same time, we should be like, it's like, look, like, this better be a good fucking trade because
it can trade its life for
what does it have that we could possibly want to spare it? Because it certainly sounds like we're on the upper end here.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Like, this thing basically assaulted us, so I feel we're justified in ending it. What is it? How could it persuade us to not go through with it?
I mean, we'll have to see, right? I mean, but as far as I go, I don't trust this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, unless it gives us a ridiculous offer that, like, you know, fucking Marlon Brando gives us an offer we can't refuse. I say we're
Xander, you are still in combat with this thing. What is it that you do?
So we all hear it saying stop. So I'll yell back at it. What will you trade for your life?
And I guess there's no creatures you're immediately engaged with. And you hear from the left, what? And to the right, do you? And then from above you, want. We know this land.
Do we want information, and do we trust the information it would give us?
It's like, yeah, why? Like, you know this land. Why the fuck do I believe you? You know exactly where to send us to our doom, then, motherfucker. That's what fucking Sumpa says.
Roll me an intimidation check.
13 total.
Okay. The house itself begins to kind of morph and turn, and you see it turning into more natural plant-like and logs and grass and things like this kind of in front of your eyes as all of these pieces kind of come about. It says, we have nothing to lose. And then right under you, what you thought was a piece of grass says, lose.
Like, you got everything to lose, motherfucker. Like, we'll fucking end you.
Maybe this is bigger than we thought. So
Maybe. Yeah. Super stays quiet after that then. He's like,
But if it was bigger than that, why would it be retreating?
You can be big and in a vulnerable position. Not necessarily life-threatening, but, you know, doesn't want to fuck with us anymore.
I feel like we need to know more about this thing, but I don't know if we trust it enough.
Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck are you? Like, show yourself. Like, before, like, I only trust, me and my compatriots only trust what we can see and understand.
Show us
Otherwise,
your face.
we murder it. Yeah, show us your face. Exactly.
You hear it just echoing all around you. Oh, what we wish to be.
How did you know to make yourself like this house?
Good question.
We saw it once. And
Where and
the
when?
the onces begin to get further and further away. Eastwardly.
And when, motherfucker, when?
6 moons ago. Go.
It's about the time, I think, when we were there. Wait, do you mean moons is in days or in months?
Yeah.
What is months? What's his days?
Do you mean a full moon? Or just like whenever the moon appears in its various forms?
We are not smart enough to assess the fractions in which the moon's whole portions are displayed within the
Visual, motherfucker, not fractions. Visual. Is it a cycle? Or is it like 6 slivers of light?
Enough. Months.
Okay.
And you see a few pieces of grass, these lumps in the grass themselves start to move. These trees begin to move all away from you.
Why did you attack us?
Yes.
Be quiet for a moment. Quiet for more moments.
you never took down your briars, did you?
Never took down what?
You never took down your thorns.
I did not know.
No. You can actually see your thorn, your spiked growth within this as these lumps begin to travel across and just fucking disintegrated as they move. It's almost like a paper shredder, but instead of shredding, it just disintegrates these things as they move forward. There's a lump that's kind of caught in front of it
that just doesn't want to move forward any longer. And it turns around to you, and you see these two eyes in this bulge of grass. It just says, "We were hungry."
Well, you're still hungry. You didn't eat us, so why would we trust you? Sounds like you just taking one step addition to
What do you
fucking
have to
consummate.
give?
That too. That's actually, yeah, that's a good question. What do you got to give, motherfucker?
Yeah, what do you have for us to spare you? Sword is still drawn.
Super does
So
this.
as we all, what do you have to give? What do you have to give? What do you have to give, motherfucker?
It's just big eyes on this lumps of grass, and he looks at you and says, I don't know what you want."
Everything.
Power, money, women. No, I'm just kidding.
Certainly, you've recovered. Certainly, you recovered
I did
some.
not say that. I was just being stupid.
Certainly, you recovered some objects from previous victims. What do you have?
That and also safe passage is what we want more than anything. I would say, depending on the objects that you have, of course.
Vomit some objects for us.
And I'll pull out my wand and I'll be like, and otherwise I'll fucking send this at you. I don't even know what this does. I don't even know what will be your fate, motherfucker. You
I
know,
want to test you so bad on this, but I don't think you would. Items are just left in the dirt. We don't want anything to do with items. Safe passage, I can say you're on the right path. We only took up refuge here as it's the most traveled path. There are creatures that come through here quite a bit, mostly goblins, and we have been eating on them for decades.
then they don't got fucking shit.
How old are you?
Yeah, how old are you?
I am only 7 days. We are 80 years.
All right, Gramps. They ain't bad. Ain't bad.
How long have these earthquakes been happening?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Surely you felt the earthquakes.
Have you felt the earth
The
quake?
shaking.
Yeah.
You
or
felt
shaking.
the shaking.
Oh, yes. The pulses through the ground
That's from the mining.
were not caused by us. I do not know.
It's from the mining.
Recent.
Mhm.
Recent.
How many moons?
5 moons. As he
Full
starts to
moons or partial moons? No, I'm sorry.
it starts to move past kind of around the spike growth. Anything else before I go?
Provide a safe passage, or the next time we see you, you'll be murdered by us.
We're not talking about Moida.
What's that from? Wait, what's that from? It sounds like it's from something.
That was, yeah.
You just hear, sure. As he kind of starts to move away. You can chase the lump if you'd like, or make an insight check. It's your choice.
Sandy, you want to let this thing live or you want to fuck this thing up?
Your choice, Xander.
It's killing goblins, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like an innocent, like relatively an innocent. It's just doing its thing.
Hawk,
Right.
you want to go with it?
No! It smells!
Hawk, have you heard about this thing?
Hawk, when we said be quiet and don't do anything,
I did exactly that.
you could have jumped in at some point.
No, I obey. I'm a good obeyer.
I mean, he was a good obeyer.
He
did
obeyed.
exactly what
He obeyed.
exactly
He
what we
obeyed.
told him to do.
I'm glad we're friends. I really wanted to run, but you told me to just be quiet, so I did. I apologize, but I did bite your horse, but I didn't do any damage. I swear. Just wanted to taste it.
Hawk, there better not be bite marks on that horse, and I'm taking one of your toes.
He just like goes and then just starts like trying to buff out the bite mark on the back of one of the horses. Nope, not here. Just look at the other 3 legs and there's no bite marks at all. See? And then the horse goes ahead and just and he just goes out cold.
Yeah, I was like, that'll like fucking kill someone.
Yeah, especially a goblin.
I think he's used to it.
Goblins might be actually tough. Their bone structure, I don't know, but yeah, they might be able to survive it. But it would, yeah.
They've taken beatings their whole life.
Right.
So now you have an unconscious, potentially broken jawed Hawk Shinkdink and a horse that seems very annoyed. And that's where we'll call tonight's episode. Gosh darn it, because we just
Well,
had a
Well,
house.
All right.
What we'll do? What time are we now? And we've got a storm still rolling in, right?
That's true. I forgot about the storm.
We need to take shelter. Yeah.
All right.
Probably
So
about 8 to 9 p.m.
Could we quickly scout for shelter? I suppose.
I'm going to put up the hut.
Just
Okay.
put up the hut. Oh, the hut like helps with like it's the shelter and everything.
hmm Yeah, it will regulate the air inside. No rain will come in.
Beautiful.
It's the
Camouflage.
foundation of a house if you'd like to use it.
You could fuck off, Mike.
And the hut will protect us
it's a
against.
fear, so nothing can.
Xander, roll me a survival check.
What were you gonna ask though, Sparkmaster? The hut.
I was going to say, does that will the hut prevent the hut will protect us
19.
from this thing if it decides to ambush us, right?
Right, it can't.
Oh, okay. Good question. Yeah. I'm thinking about it.
So with a 19, you're able to find the side of the mountain where you can set up the hut in such a way that it's blocking a little bit of area and keeps the horses and different cavalry that you have mostly protected, both from any creatures as well as from the wind and a potential storm coming in. With a 19, you have a pretty predominant overhang that if you were to just use that as a shelter yourself will protect you from the rain. But with the combination of your shelter, you can actually protect all of your horses and such from the rain as well.
Okay.
So you have a pretty solid
So we have like an overhang area,
Yeah.
and then like this area around here, so we can set the hut up out here, so there's only one way in and out.
exactly.
Okay. Let's do it.
So we'll do that. We will set up the tiny hut, so all of us have shelter for the night, and we're good. We're not that far away at this point.
Okay. Now that's going to be your intent. It takes you what? Just a minute to set up that hut?
It takes a minute to set up the hut. Yeah.
That's a cheap spell, man. I don't know if I like that. That's fucking cheap.
It's like
I on the other hand really like the hut.
Or I can ritual cast it, and it takes 10 minutes.
That's gnarly. That's a hack. That's a D&D hack for sure.
But you know what? I have this instead of an offensive spell.
That's fine. That is fine. You have a good shelter even for your animals, which is your one piece that I could potentially.
Thank you, Liam O'Brien, for introducing me to Liam's tiny hut.
Yes, that hut is a fucker. I thought it would be a higher level spell, to be honest with you.
It's
But-
perfect for traveling, and like in a game like
You-
this
you
where
can't-
you
you
take
can't
the
beat
traveling seriously, it's like the
Yeah.
perfect spell.
It almost
Yeah.
breaks it, but
I wouldn't say that.
it costs so much to have.
And and it definitely it's a trade-off, right? So now he can't be so like throwing out spells during battle as much and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it cost me a 3rd level spot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's not cheap for sure.
No.
Yeah.
So anyway, love it.
Cool.
Well, thanks for joining in today's episode of Shawshank Adventures, where we battle houses and save comrades and enslave goblins.
And we have long rests right at the end of an adventure, correct?
That's right.
So fast. We'll find out on next episode of Shawshank Adventures.